Where should I look primarily? At each other? Or
Yeah, you can look at each other, or you can stare right at that camera.
There you go.
The whole time, just
If you got something serious to say, just stare right.
it's like, hey. I guess the time gets people in. So yeah, the comments will be Mike. The comments, if we got people coming in, they're gonna be commenting right over there on the right.
Okay.
And then you'll see it if it's from YouTube.
Is there where I can share this on my profile right now?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I finally found my
Millennium Falcon
vintage junk food shirt. I used to really be big into Urban Outfitters.
I've heard of that.
It's like that. It's a t-shirt place, kind of like Jean Place in New Orleans.
Okay.
I think because they have some really cool shirts. You can pull them up on eBay. Go check them out. They have the funniest graphic tees.
Really?
Yeah.
sharing now.
Yeah, man. It's gonna be a good one. Here, for how long have you been fighting for? Your whole life?
Me?
Yeah.
I fought amateur. I mean, I did some like boxing and stuff. Like,
You gotta bring your mic up.
oh, we're talking now. My bad.
Yeah. We're live.
Oh shoot! All right. I was trying to share this thing. I didn't know it started yet.
So right here's the best spot to talk
Yeah.
in. Like I said, be careful spinning this, Brandon.
Hey, don't look at me. We already talked about this. I'm a quick learner.
All right, I'm gonna drop.
Hey, you said you press the wrong buttons all the time in Call of Duty. I don't know.
Hey, I only need people on the head when they're standing up.
All right, and I drop an intro. Music up loud.
Magnolia Room Speakeasy, Airbnb Bosses, Drinx, shout out to John, Direct Auto, go see Michael West, Collision Depot, they will fix and repair to the highest standard. The District Coffee Company, downtown Ocean Springs, and the new location, Pascagoula.
We offer home, auto, commercial, builders, whips, and life insurance.
Oliver's good.
Oliver Shots Insurance.
How's everybody?
Yeah, Dr. Robotnik.
All right, we're on this show. We got a huge show tonight, guys. A very important show. We got two professional athletes.
I don't know what to do with my hands.
I think a lot of y'all. If I could break it down right now, I think a lot of these, what inspired them was Bloodsport,
Dragon Ball Z.
Only the Strong.
Dragon Ball Z.
You got me a
Sidekicks.
Bloodsport.
Bloodsport was good.
Bloodsport was definitely a big one for me.
Yeah, Bloodsport was good. Michael J. White.
Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat.
The first one, I went
Mortal
back. I went back and watched it
Kombat,
the other day. It
games
wasn't
and the first movie. I
the
loved
first
it.
movie wasn't bad. I went
I
back
don't
and
care what
watched it
people say, it was
recently.
great.
All right, so let's go into of course, Brandon, you haven't been on this podcast, so just dive into y'all's names. You pick a side. You can go first, Brandon, or Mike. You can go first. Give a little backstory about who y'all are. What are y'all doing in my house?
Well, let Mike go first. He's the head coach.
Yeah, sure, man. So my name's Mike Sanford. I'm the coach of the American Top Team. I mainly do the ground stuff. Brandon's one of our main striking guys. You know, him and Alan kind of tag team on that a lot. And we have a really awesome team of great coaches and guys. And then I started fighting back in my first MMA fight was 2003, amateur, before I started jiu-jitsu. And then I started jiu-jitsu training. I got into that pretty heavily and came down to the South here, started working with Alan, and got into the whole UFC coaching scene, took on that pretty young, and never fought professionally until literally last year at almost 39 years old. So I finally started fighting pro about a year ago. I did I think 7 fights this year, or about a year and 4 months, 5 months, something like that, almost a year and a half. And I've been on the same card as Brandon a couple of times. Me and Brandon have been around the world coaching together, fighting together, which is pretty cool. And, this was finally, this last card I fought on the beginning. Brandon was the main event, fought for the world title, and it was a pretty cool day overall, except for the very end.
And Brandon, who are you and what are you doing at my house?
My name is Jeff. No, my name is Brandon Killer B Davis. That's my fight name. I started training at 20 years old at Mississippi State at Mississippi Jiu-Jitsu, not academy, just class or whatever in the main thing. And then it finally grew with Jay. And I moved down here to the coast because they had people that had been in the UFC, Alan, and then Jason and I was in the UFC, and then Chase, I think, had just made it right before I came down here. And then I came down here and trained with Jason and everything. And I moved down here, and Jason asked me to be a striking coach. So that's how I got my first entry into the UFC. And I coached him for 4 or 5 fights in the UFC, and he was on a tear. And then I won my fights, and I got onto the Contender Series to make it to the UFC, or a chance to make it to the UFC. And then the Contender Series, you have 5 fights, 10 fighters. They try to pick the best one out of all 10. And it's literally the best people in the country at the time, or the world, that they're trying to bring in to try to find their next superstar or whatever. And I won my fight, and they liked me, and they picked me for that. And then fought in the UFC for a total like 5 or 6 years with a 1 year off in between. And then now I'm doing bare knuckle, and just fought for the bare knuckle 135 championship recently.
And that's Game Bread.
Game Bread, yeah, Game Bread, Jorge Masvidal show. Great promotion. I have nothing bad to say about them. But yeah, that was a good one. That was down here on the coast, and everybody got to see it, and it was a good time until it wasn't.
So, and also, guys, a lot of y'all know that my dad passed away on the 23rd, and he wouldn't want me to stop doing a podcast. We had this pre-planned. Definitely, he was one of my biggest supporters and fans of the show. So we're gonna dive in a little bit about honestly, I want to dive into about training, what it takes to be a professional fighter. You know, a lot of people I talk to, because now, I got about 4 or 5 years. When did you get me into it? When I started
at least 4 years ago.
So I've been 4 years. I'm still like an amateur in it, but Brandon kind of got me into the sport. We're going to dive into, a lot of people think, they just sign a letter and then they fight next day, but there's hundreds of hours in training to prep for a fight. There's a lot of sacrifice made, in this sport. I want to dive into that with y'all. I also was at the last fight he had. I was with my buddy DJ at the table. Something was off in that fight. We're going to dive into that, but I want to dive into what it takes to be a fighter, because now that I actually enjoy the sport, people always say, "Oh, it's easy." And then I talk to Brandon, and I'm drinking a beer and Brandon's drinking water, eating chicken. And it's a sacrifice. You have to change your family dynamics. You got to change the way you take care of your body. I hope with this show, what I want out of this show is understanding, all about the sport, but truthfully, on what happened with the commission and how everything came together. But like I said, yeah, thank you all so much about my dad. I'm not going to continue. I'm not going to stop the show. We got to keep going, but I love you guys and enjoy the show. So let's go to, what does it take for, let's say you got so for a fight, you sign a fight card. You'll have to think about prepping, right? You don't just take a fight like that, right?
Yeah, no, there's a lot that goes into it. So a lot of times what happens is we'll get an offer for an opponent. There'll be, there's 2 ways it can go out. It can be they want you to fight and they'll offer you an opponent, or they have somebody they want to fight and they're looking for an opponent. So the 2 main ways you get a fight. And
if they have somebody and they're wanting an opponent, it's because that opponent's really good and nobody wants to accept the fight.
You're probably going to be the underdog in that fight, which, works out in some cases. We have to look at that person, what their skills are, what their record is, what they've done, their strengths, their flaws, all that's a big factor, so whenever this offer comes in, we take a look at the opponent, the organization, and the
pay,
location, and the amount of money. Yeah, exactly. Pay is going to be a big factor for sure. Because, really what it comes down to is most people on the planet will fight anybody for enough money, and that's no different for professional fighters, of course. So professional fighters just tend to do it a lot cheaper. So we have to look at all that stuff and see where it's going to put you in your career, like what your career path is, what your goals are, and is this the right fight for you right now? And for Brandon, most of the time it's a yes. All right. Because he's got a very tough style to fight against, but it's also a kind of style that the judges tend to not always get. So he's had some ups and downs because of that. And a lot of times when we're trying to find Brandon opponent, he's not the underdog most of the time. And when it comes to world title fights, those are rare, and those are something you can't ever say no to, right? So those are all factors in this last fight card. So when it comes to getting a fight, there's a lot more to it than most people think.
Do they reach out to you, Mike, or they reach out to Brandon? How does somebody find you? I mean, I know y'all fight out of American Top Team, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's usually a manager involved.
Yeah, and even though he's the head coach, I have my own manager. I don't know if he has a manager or if he manages himself. There, you can not have a manager. The thing about not having a manager though is you're going to get all of your money, but you're going to be making less money. Like there's a guy that trained with us, and he was killing it in the UFC, and he didn't want to have a manager. He wanted to negotiate his own stuff so he can keep all of his money. Now, if you do that, then you're going to make maybe 50,000 and 50,000. And if you win, you keep all 100,000. Now the manager doesn't want chump change, that they're only getting 10, 20%, right? So if you have a manager and they're getting 10% of $100,000, they're only getting $10,000. So of course they want you to make as much money as possible because they make more money. So that's the downfall of not having a manager is you kind of screw yourself. You're fighting for less money, but you get to keep it all when you could make 500,000 and you give away 50,000. $50,000 sucks giving away $50,000 compared to 10, but then you still kept 450 as opposed to 90.
And what a manager! I mean, they help handle the press.
No, they literally just they might do media and get you sponsors and stuff like that, but they are usually strictly get you the fights. The UFC calls, they call my manager. They don't. I've only on my way back to the UFC the second time, Sean Shelby actually called me because he didn't know who my manager was, which is really rare. He's like, bro, who's your manager? I've been trying to get in touch with you for a while. Other than that, they don't contact you at all. They like to, because they got too many people to worry about and do all this. They just contact the managers.
Yeah. And the real benefit of having a good manager is they'll make sure you get the right fights at the right time.
Yes.
And they're going to be managing other people. So they'll hear about more opportunities. So they'll be like, they'll be looking for a fight for their 125 or that's 3-0. And then, Sean Shelby might say something like, well, now I've got this guy. He's 145. He's 5-1. We need an opponent for him. Like if somebody backed out, boom, I got Brandon Davis, or whatever. Like that's where the real benefit of the manager comes in. Because they'll find more opportunities that you wouldn't have heard about,
What's up, Joe Karuba? He said, I'll fight both these guys right here, right now. He said, I wish they were reading these comments.
All right.
You got Curtis is in
Talk
here.
to my manager. I don't know if I'm getting paid enough.
Yeah. How much you going to pay, Joe?
So, but when they do the short, like say you get a short fight card. So what's short versus a true camp?
Short notice.
What's weeks in a true camp? What is that you consider a true camp?
A full fight camp, I would say, is anywhere from at least 6 to 8. 8 weeks. 8 weeks, 2 months. 6 weeks is still a full camp, but shorter one. I honestly sometimes prefer the 6 weeks because you don't have as much time to get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
8 weeks is a long time to be training hard, eating clean, and then pushing your body as hard as you can and not take any injury. Most of the time you go into a fight, you go into it with some injuries.
So in training, though, you're doing full contact.
Yeah, you have
not like shadow boxing.
No, you have full contact, but you're not wearing. Well, we don't wear gloves anymore. You're not wearing gloves, or you're not wearing MMA gloves. You're wearing either muffin tops, which are small or bigger MMA gloves with looks like it has a muffin on top, so you have a little more padding, or you wear boxing gloves and you have shin guards on and knee pads and elbow pads. So you're not the only difference is you're not taking as much like damage that can cause lacerations. You want to prolong that. You're still taking damage every time you hit in the head. You're taking damage, but you're preventing little injuries like cuts and stuff like that.
Do you focus more on the striking part, or do you focus more on the cardio to outlast the rounds? I've noticed that's something about your sport. Like you have to have stamina. You got to keep going. You can't. It's not you see somebody in a street fight. What is a street fight? 15 seconds.
They're equally as if that. They don't ever usually go a minute. If they do, they're both super tired. No, you have to focus on those equally, and I don't think they come together. Like you can get the cardio training, like while you're doing wrestling and while you're doing the striking. That's going to help your cardio, but you have to work on cardio by itself. If you don't, you're not going to have it.
Well, there's also two aspects to this too, man. Because cardio is important, but in MMA, it's not just like a run. It's not a marathon, right? Like in marathon, cardio is everything. All right. Like you have to have that cardio and that endurance, but in MMA, it's very anaerobic also. So not only am I having to have that cardio to be able to go, like if I had to run in a circle for 15 minutes, like a boxer might, I have to be able to do that. But I also have to be able to pick you up and put you down for 15 minutes, like a weightlifter might. So I have that anaerobic and the aerobic aspect we have to consider. And that's what messes people up. Because I've had fights. Man, my only loss as a pro, me as a coach, I think I know everything, right? So I'm going into this thing kind of like cutting every corner possible.
It's like you're in God mode.
Cutting every corner possible to fight a guy that's way below my level, right? I kind of forgot about this. And it was a wake-up call because my cardio was good enough. Like I definitely had way better cardio than my opponent. But I didn't work. I lactic acid tolerant, my lactate threshold, which is the anaerobic aspect. And that became a big factor as the fight went on a little longer than I expected, and these are things that have to be considered in a training camp. And I know better then, but like me as the coach, if I'm talking to Brandon or Jason, it's easy for me to point that out to them and to like make them understand it, and, we're at a point now where they respect my opinion. So like, they'll listen to me. But when it's me, myself, I'll be like, fuck that. This guy can't do anything to me.
Yeah.
So I can just blow it off, So I kind of need somebody like Brandon once in a while to remind me too,
Everybody knows I'm a dickhead. I say what's on my mind or whatever I think is.
So are you addicted? Are you addicted to coke?
But if Brandon was around that fight that I lost, I wouldn't have lost. That's what it comes down
How
to.
many times did I tell you this last fight? Like, your ass needs to get in shape. You better start.
Not only that, but like honestly, what really came down to the reason I won that fight, the reason I was able to get myself, I did not train right for this last fight. I was very much all over the place. I was not at my best at all. And when it came to the weigh-in day, I had the worst weight cut of my life. I tried some experimenting that I had no business trying at the time. I basically tried to cram all my carbohydrate and sodium cuts all down to the last 3 days based on, I had good reasons for it. I looked at the science for it, but it wasn't the right thing to do. Anyway, I failed my weight cut horribly. I was the doctor almost didn't let me fight. And Brandon saw how shitty I looked backstage. And he said something to me that kind of like cracked me back into the right mindset,
No, he got all.
This is a good thing, man. Because like he honestly he cracked me out of a bad mindset. This shows the importance of having a coach. Because not only I coach Brandon, but Brandon also coaches me. He's like my striking coach. So when Brandon saw me looking all defeated, backstage, he said, "Hey, get that shit out of your head right now. You already lost the weight cut. Don't lose the fight." And I was like, "Fuck, man, you're right."
Good.
I was like, that was exactly what I needed to hear at that moment. I went home, took a nap, rehydrated, got myself together, and came back the next day a totally different person. And honestly, like I might have gotten myself together anyway, but when Brandon said that, it put me in the mindset to get myself back together immediately, and I needed that right then.
Do y'all get nervous before a fight? Like in your eyes, like I know y'all are tough guys, but do you ever? I mean, the 4 hours before the fight, are you? I mean, I know you're probably focused, but are you nervous?
Sometimes I haven't really had a bunch of nerves since like a long time, which is sometimes why I'm a slow starter because I don't like have that fear. Because what I always tell my wife or whoever says something to me, what's the worst going to happen? They can knock me out, and I'm going to wake up in a few minutes well rested. Like I don't really feel like I need to be too nervous about anything. But you still have that little bit of nerves, and some people get way more nervous, like to where. If you're too nervous before the fight, you're using up way too much adrenaline, and your body can only use that for so long, and it starts to take a beating, right? I try to keep my heart rate as low as possible all the way up until the fight. Like weigh-in day, I'm chill. Like usually they doctor comes and checks your heart rate right after you weigh in. Like I always have the lowest, it's always around 40 something, because there's no point in using any energy. I know what I got to do tomorrow. Like I know I'm going to go in there, and I know I'm going to fight, and it's just something I've been doing for so long. You still get the little bit of nerves. This last fight, I got more nerves than I've got any time recently. Now it wasn't like I was nothing like that. It was like you feel a little bit of butterflies, but that was probably for 10 seconds, and then I was like, all right, I know what I got to do.
That was a world title fight.
Yeah, world title fight, and Randy just got done beating Jason pretty good.
He had a good performance against Jason.
So I was like, all right, we're gonna have to come out here and fight this one, and you might take some damage. And
are you thinking about the fight, or are you thinking about yourself in that situation? Because I mean, like. Y'all going out there like gladiators. I mean, that's what y'all like. Y'all pretty much going in there beating each other's ass.
I mean, I'm never worried about myself. It's just whatever happens, it happens.
No, but do you think about the fight, or are you thinking about like what you train for what you're going to go out there and do?
I'll let you go first on this.
Well, man, I'm going to be honest. Like, and I almost don't like to answer this question anymore because I don't think that it's abnormal to have nerves before a fight and to feel nervous before a fight. That's something that you have to learn how to overcome and have to learn how to deal with and have to learn how to even sometimes channel. Like Jason's one of the best performers I've ever trained. I don't know about you, but Jason performs phenomenal on fight night, and he always performs at his best when he's nervous. And he's just one of those guys. He learned how to turn nerves into positive energy to like kill his opponent with. And he's a great performer. For me personally, I got nervous a lot, like as an amateur when I was wrestling and when I was doing grappling and stuff like that, I would get nervous. I as a professional fighter though, I've only gotten nervous for one fight. I've gotten nervous for one single fight ever. And it was right after the fight that I lost because I wasn't properly training for it, And I was just wondering, is my body going to give out like this again? That's the only thing I was worried about, So do nerves is being nervous something that has to happen before you fight? Or is it going to make you better? Or is it like not being that? Is it a lie? Some people say people are lying if they say they're not nervous. I've literally never been nervous for a pro fight except for one, and it was after I lost.
See, I'd be nervous for me. I'd be nervous for like if I got to take a shit. Like it's like if I eat Mexican food, I'm just saying like I would be more stomach. Do I need a piss? Do I need a shit? Like
I tell my buddy Tyler, the reason why I don't get nervous is I know I did everything. If I didn't do everything right, then I'd probably be nervous. If I'm not in shape, or if I feel like I didn't do everything right, or I didn't train my ass off or do everything I needed to do, then that's when I'm nervous. If I did everything right, then I trained as hard as I could. I should be fine.
I think that's really like the highest level of mindset for fighting. Like in my opinion, as a coach and as a fighter, I think that's exactly what it comes down to. Is if you believe you've done everything you can to be at your best, you have nothing to be nervous about. If your opponent manages to overcome you, it's not because you messed up and you did something wrong. It's because they were just that good, and that's not to be ashamed about, right? It's
one thing I think I appreciate about when fights. If you look at the fights now, like when y'all get in there and y'all go to war, there's always some type of respect most of the time.
Yeah.
It's like a love. It's like,
you might not like the person beforehand, but when you get done, you usually see y'all shake hands or whatever, get a little hug. You got in there and you try to, I'm gonna say kill each other because not necessarily trying to kill each other. You try to beat each other up and finish that person however you could possible, and you gain some respect from that. So, it's a mutual respect. Now, right after the fight, after all that adrenaline's gone, they might say some stuff or whatever, and you go back to hating each other. I've never really hated anybody. Just,
do you prefer shit talking? This is a good question. Do you prefer shit talking? Because social media is everything to y'all now. Let's be honest. Social media is your platform. The way you carry yourself, the way you dress, the way your style is. I know y'all are true fighters, but just, you watch MMA sport, kind of take a little bit of the WWE showmanship of being that star. Do y'all ever on social media, do y'all enjoy the, fuck you post, or do you like just being silent? I like the drama. I'm in that shit.
I like both. The thing is, the only way I talk shit is if I'm telling the truth. So if I talk shit and it seems like I'm saying something it's going to be the truth. Like I might say this person's this, and this, and it's because they are, or they've showed it, or they've done this. I'm never going to make some fake shit up. It's always something truthful. So it's rare if I talk a bunch of shit, unless somebody's just trying to give it to me and then I'll just go back at them. But as far as me just starting up and talking shit, it's like I said, it has to be something truthful for me to really say it.
So note to all Brandon's future opponents: if you want to make a lot of money, talk shit about Brandon. Give him something to latch onto, man, because that whole Bobby Hill thing was probably the best thing I ever saw in my life.
Oh God, that was a good one.
You would have made a lot of money if that was for a world title.
Oh God.
Can you dive into some of the shit talking?
Oh man, I can't remember. I beat up a different dude named Randy, and after I beat him, Bobby Hill, which me and him are cool now. Yeah. He went on Facebook or Instagram or something and was talking shit, saying he'd whoop my ass, this, and this. And I said, all right, well, come to the gym on Monday, because I didn't take any damage. Come to the gym on Monday, and then I think he agreed or something. And so I go to the gym and I'm recording when I'm walking in. no Bobby Hill. So I like take the camera around. I'm looking underneath the underneath the gym, underneath the cage, and I'm looking in the girls' bathroom. It's just pretty funny.
Chase was like,
Bro,
let's look behind the snack bar.
he deleted his Facebook there for a while. Like it had like 250 comments and a couple thousand likes. It was funny. It was pretty funny. This is right before I made it to the UFC.
I mean, you're a troll. You do like trolling sometimes.
Oh man, if somebody starts something,
reason to.
that's a different story. Like you go on my Instagram now, somebody says something like negative. Oh, they're getting it. Somebody like that on the thing I posted the other day with Randy Costas, my son.
Yeah, that shit was just. I mean, you took one of the photos I took of you with the family.
One of the people commented on there and said something about don't you have some UPS boxes to deliver or something? I said, yeah, I'll bring it over to your mom's house in just a minute. I just had to get a little dig in back at it.
I mean, but that's like it's not like you're going to a man's house while their family's there and being fucking evil. I mean, you're fucking talking shit on the internet. Internet is made to talk shit. Have you ever been on Reddit?
The internet's undefeated.
Yeah, I mean, it's just funny though. It's like one of the things I don't like. Conor McGregor, great fighter, but his power is the way he operates social media. We got to be honest. The way he talks shit, the way he brings on scenes. That's what he does.
Oh yeah, that's why. I mean, you got to have that WWE style these days to make it big. And that's how you get paid. You don't even got to be the best fighter. You just got to be able to talk the best shit and back it up a little bit.
Sanford, who are you gonna talk shit about? We're gonna get this started tonight.
Well, I'm not gonna make a lot of money as an athlete, and that's not my thing. But I do understand it. It's one of those things. Is obviously MMA, WWE, all that stuff is star-powered sports, right? These are star-powered events. They sell this based on the stars that are going to be there, right? How do you make stars? Anyone know? With a story. You need a fucking story, That's it. So if we have a story, with Brandon, just all he needs is the beginning of that story, and he's in. Boom, he's on it, right? Same thing. Like WWE, they can write the story. That's their advantage over the UFC. They can write the story beginning to end. UFC has to kind of start a story, invoke a story, and hope it pans out, and make a couple backup plans in case it doesn't work out perfect, right?
Like that being said, whenever I was on the Contender Series, they were like asking me like,
what is the Contender Series for the audience?
The Contender Series is like I said, they bring in 10 fighters, 5 fights that night, and they usually choose only one person out of all 10, and it's one out of the 5 that won most of the time, and you got to be the most impressive, and it's the top 10 people in the country at the time that they choose different weight classes and stuff, and they try to bring you in. Now they send you out to Vegas a couple of weeks early, and they like do this interview with you, and they're like, they kept asking me like, what's the saddest thing that's ever happened to you in your life? I was like, oh no, I'm trying to keep up. I literally said this. Like, I don't know. This is like the last things I try to keep up with in my mind. They're like trying to get they're trying to build that story for you to be a star. Yeah. And I was like, I don't have any.
Luckily your story was told with your fist. You're actually one of those guys that like threw enough fucking punches and took out the guy that they liked. so that you were sellable, right?
Yeah.
But so Brock Weaver, that dude knows how to tell a story, right?
Yes.
And man, when he got on Contender Series, there was no way he wasn't getting signed.
So is Contender Series is that a YouTube show, or is it like is it syndicated cable?
I know they post them on YouTube afterwards. I don't think they post them live on YouTube. It's like Fight Pass or something.
I used to watch that MTV MMA show. What's that one?
Oh, Caged? Is that Caged?
Adrian was on that.
It was a guy with the dyed hair. He was a host of it.
Oh, he's talking about the Bully Beatdown.
Oh, Bully Beatdown. That was Mayhem.
Hilarious.
Yeah, Mayhem.
I was right there with True Life. I was a big True Life guy.
Oh God.
Yeah, I mean, I even got into the
True Life had some good stuff.
Yeah, but I got the Catfish show, but after a while, it was the same shit.
I don't like them Catfish or anything like that.
I mean, hey, look, I liked all kinds of stuff back in the day, but no, I thought that shit was cool. Like, I mean, growing up, I had the Ultimate Warrior pillow. I mean,
I was Ultimate Warrior too, man.
Yeah, so Ultimate Warrior was my thing. I was a massive wrestling fan, and I love it. And even when you got me into MMA, so I got to give you credit for it. But like, I go after the crazy ass stories. Don't get me wrong, I like the American hero. I mean, the best of the best. I like that. Team America. I'm down with it. But I like shit talking. Okay, like that's kind of an escape for me because it's funny. It's just. It kind of makes it's a build up. It's like,
yeah, absolutely.
That dude just talked shit about his wife. Good Lord, good luck.
Yeah. And that's human nature, man. Stories are throughout humanity, how we've passed down information, how we've grown as a species, honestly. So it's just tapping into that. It's pretty simple when you break it down, right? But very few people have really understood that and learned how to capitalize on it. Dana White's one of them. Vince McMahon with WWE, 100%, probably one of the best ever.
He has to be the best entertainer.
I mean, well, not only that,
The
but
promoter,
like
I mean.
I think he understood that how important telling a story is more than any other person in sports history.
Can you imagine if they never created NWO?
Well, I mean, even if they didn't, he still was telling a story. He just had to change it. Like, and if you look at the history of like WWE, like it was all very wholesome before NWO came out. And once NWO came out, he's like, "Oh, that shit's working. Well, I could do that." He just did it better, right? I mean, really, like he ended up buying it, right? Didn't he?
I mean, yeah, because it went from like
I kind of stopped watching like in the early '90s, you know. So I don't
but
really.
it kind of went into like I love when they went from the stage to the locker room.
Yeah, that was. I mean, that was.
If I seen UFC or MMA Game Bread, if they started bringing in some behind the scenes locker room bullshit stories, I would be all about it. I'd love that.
Yeah. I never really watched wrestling. It's too fake for me.
I watched it when I was really young.
Now it's the same.
Yeah,
Same.
Yeah, I
Same,
watched it when I
but
was really
different.
young. But I love the video games. So
I love the video
NWO
games.
versus WCW when that came out, or what was it?
Sting was my dude.
Yeah, Sting was great. But all those video games came out, like I was all into that. PlayStation 2, that era, dynamite. I didn't really watch it during the Stone Cold era, but I knew Stone Cold because I played the games.
Monday Night Nitro hit. That was my time.
Yeah, so that was the wartime, right?
Yeah,
like,
don't worry about it. I was in it. I believed all the stories.
But I know like Vince McMahon got sued by multiple employees, like got sued, lost in court, and then hired him back years later because it was good for his business. He was just he knew how to, the guy's probably the worst scumbag psychopath on the planet, but he knew how to tell a story and turn it into millions of dollars, like better than anybody ever, you know?
Well, the good thing is Game Bread is like a new company, so
Yeah.
they get to do that all from the beginning and
Yeah.
build up. And the UFC picks and chooses who they want. Now you still got to go out there and win the fights. And people think like a lot of stuff's rigged, and maybe some people throw some fights or something. I have never seen it personally, but they pick and choose who they want the person to fight, and they try to give them fights that they will win, favorable matchups. But you still got to go out there and fight, and that other person usually knows that they're, I'm not gonna say you're supposed to lose, but they know they're the underdog or whatever. It shows up on the stat sheet that you're the underdog. You're plus 500, but you still got to go there and fight and win. But for Game Bread, they just started like 5 years ago, but they really haven't had many big shows. I think not even 5 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. But they've only had a few like big fights, and recently I guess they got good investors and everything, so they get to build all this from the ground up, and they've learned from the UFC and all the other people. So
I was surprised by the promotion they have, like Happy Dad and brands. I mean, this is a real. I mean, I told Brandon, I think that was my favorite fight. I had so much fun up to the last fight. I had a blast. It was so. What I loved about it was, I know you're gonna be like, well, sometimes going longer rounds. Very few second rounds. I enjoyed that.
Mm-hmm.
I was there having cocktails. They were treating me like the service was amazing. Now, shout out to DJ for buying a table from Brandon, which he always does. Love you, DJ. But we had service, people coming to the table. It was just fascinating, and I loved it because it was. I mean, one thing I'll say about that I enjoyed about the Game Bread was, I like the 1-rounders.
Yeah,
and then you can hear the smash.
A lot of people think they want to do bare knuckle when they come from MMA, and then they get hit a few times and they're like, all right, never mind. Let me get out of here in this first round. Let me find a way out. Like that's one part about a fight. You can see it in people's eyes when you're fighting them, when you're the person in there fighting and you hit them and you know you hurt them, like you see it in their eyes, like, oh shit, I gotta fucking keep doing that. And it'll go through their mind. Because I've had it happen in like one of my first few amateur fights where I was like, fuck, how am I gonna do this? And I finally got it out of my mind like a couple of seconds later. But I know it goes through people's minds because I've seen it and I've asked them and I've had to go through my mind. And I think it was my third MMA fight ever. And I was like, fuck, how the fuck am I gonna get out of this? And I got my mind right, and then I end up winning the fight. But there's points and times in fights where you're like, I don't know if I can win this fight. And if they don't think they can win the fight and the punches hurt worse because you're getting hit with knuckles, why a lot of them fights end in the first round. It feels a little different than getting hit with the glove on.
It's a big difference, right? In the pads.
Well, I mean, I got to be honest, man. I honestly, I don't think I ever would have fought pro if bare knuckle MMA didn't make a comeback, because I cannot get out of training mode when I'm wearing gloves or I'm not allowed to punch. Like I just can't. Like to me, it just feels like training, and it like worse off. It feels like training where I could lose in front of my mom. Like it just feels stupid to me. I just don't like to do it. And I've tried to snap myself out of that multiple times, and I've had a hard time with it. But now with bare knuckle MMA, like those bare knuckle MMA fights I did, that felt like a fight. Like I know there was rules and I had things I couldn't do. But overall, I was able to get myself into a mentality where I was fighting. Whereas all my gloved fights, pro, amateur, whatever, they felt like training. Like I really couldn't get into a kill mode, like where I wanted to just win. I was trying to like show off, honestly, and all of them, every single one of them.
But you can't like. I mean, you got to understand. It's still like, yeah. I mean, yeah, your kids loving this type of entertainment. You have to have some of that where you like showing off is the fucking. That's got to be. I mean,
no, yeah, the showing off part is like what happens when I know I can, like when it feels like training. Like it's like I'm just gonna do this thing I've been working on. I want to show everybody this thing I've been working on, and that's all I think about. And whether I win or lose, that's all I'm gonna do for the rest of the fight. And that's not good when you're out there competing. You know, when you're out there competing, you should be showing your best things, not something cool that you think everyone would like to see, unless it's going to be right there, right?
Yeah.
yes, man. I'm about to pull up right now. Y'all keep talking, getting in the fight. So I'm gonna be pulling up Mike's stuff. We're gonna go over. This is Mike's YouTube first. We're gonna go over the fight with Brandon and Randy.
Try Mikey Triangles at Mikey Triangles is probably the easiest.
Well, like
I was doing Sanford MMA. It comes right up.
when he said you've been watching this or been a fan of this since I was a kid, like I remember watching. I think my first ever MMA fight was like Uriah Faber versus Jose Aldo in WEC, and I was like, yeah, it's cool. I never wanted to do it, so it wasn't like a thing like, oh man, I think I can go out there because I played other sports, so it was just. I mean, I thought it was cool, and I was like good at street fighting. Like I never lost a street fight.
How many street fights were you in? Let's get in that first.
I can't tell you. It was a lot, but it was a lot back in the day. I remember one time. So whenever I was just got to out of high school, and I moved down to Mississippi, and I was going to ICC, and me and this dude made a bet about he's actually a fighter now, a fighter out of Tupelo. He's a boxer. He's actually a decent boxer now. But he tried to bet me that he could run the 400 in I think 48 seconds. I was like, how much were we betting? I think we bet $200 or something. And I was like, and we shook. I was like, you can't run that in that time, right? Because that's Olympic times. At that point, I was like, I think he said 45 or something crazy. And I was like, bro, you got to be almost in the Olympics running that. That's one lap around the track. That's the 400. And he was like, oh, I could do whatever. I was like, let's go. And then he finally looked up and he was like, I can't do it. And I was like, all right, well, you're going to pay me money. He's like, I'm not paying. I had my earrings. Took my earrings out. I said, all right, you're not going to pay me. He said, nope.
I love the detail you added the earrings.
Oh, I had to. Punched him in the mouth. He swung back a few times. I beat him up. And then I guess he went home and he still came to work. Like I saw him one more time at work at Abercrombie a while back. And this dude was like stocky, just like good looking preppy boy. And I guess his dad was like, we're putting you in some type of fighting. We're not going to let you get your ass whipped anymore. And he went into boxing. He's actually a decent boxer now. I think he won some Golden Gloves. I don't want to say his name on here, but he's out of Tupelo. I haven't talked to him since then. But if you make a bet, you better pay.
For real, yo. All right. I had a bunch of fights when I was a kid. I never got into a fight as an adult. All right. I've kicked people out of parties.
Were you? Was it because you were like the little kids? Like, were you the big kid?
So I have my theories on how Brandon was, but like I was extremely unliked as a kid. I didn't have any friends really. I was kind of obnoxious. I was a little loud when I was younger, and I think that's kind of why I became more introverted as I got older. I kind of made more friends when I kept my mouth shut because I didn't have any social skills. Like I had to develop those over time. So when I was a kid, I was kind of a loud kid. I got into a lot of issues with other kids. And I was small, so I would talk a lot. I'd make people feel stupid, and then they'd want to fight me because I was smaller than they were, So I did get into a lot of fights, and I didn't lose any of them really, except for one. So when I was like 16, we got cornered because everyone knew that I was pretty good at, like, I had grown up boxing and I did wrestling and I was okay at wrestling and I was okay at boxing. And this other kid that was living in my same town, he was cousins with the first girl that I ever had like a crush on. And his
over a girl, yeah.
it wasn't even over a girl, but I think that kind of like got in his head because I think she'd said something to him or whatever. And you know, she was a little out there too. But anyway,
Today, Junior.
all right, yeah. So anyway, I got stopped in a parking lot. They wouldn't let me leave. I was like 15, I want to say. I'd just gotten a permit. I was trying to bring my car home. I was half asleep, and everyone circled up and they let us. They literally made me fight this kid.
Yeah.
Like everybody that hung out in our town. We didn't have YouTube back then. We didn't have Call of Duty. We had a fucking parking lot where we threw a football around, right? So this kid I had to fight. He came from a party. He was drunk and he slammed my face in the parking lot twice eventually. All right. And then everyone broke it up after that. Anyway, he was on the Ultimate Fighter the season Jason tried out for.
Way before he made it. Long time.
Right before he, well, so Jason went and tried out and he was there.
Yeah.
And I was like, we became friends after that. But like, he was on that.
Why don't you come roll sometime, bro?
Yeah. I rolled him. I rolled him since then. I rolled him a couple years after that.
How'd you do?
I got the better of him. But anyway, we became cool after that.
Did you hold a couple chokes a little longer than you should have?
No, nothing like that. Nothing like that. That's why we became cool, you know. I had to let go a long time after that. Like I was grudgy for like a little while, you know, but like it wasn't. I think like I used to like see him looking at me, and I think like, oh man, I can't wait till I get the next chance with this guy. I'm gonna kill him next time. And he was thinking like, man, I just want to go apologize. I was so drunk. I shouldn't have done that. Like, so like we were on totally two different pages. When we finally talked, like he told me that, and I told him what I was thinking. You know, kind of we get along now. But
that's just
he ended up marrying my best friend's little sister, like my best middle school friend's little sister. And he was on the Ultimate Fight. He made the season the year like I had Jason go out there and try out, and then Jason got a call and got on the UFC. They had him fight Kawajiri like 2 months after that, or a few months after that. So it was pretty cool. I like the long-term story of that.
A good story. I mean,
so that was the only street fight I ever
but it makes
lost.
y'all stronger.
Yeah.
I mean, you signed up at state, and that's when you became a fighter. You were going to you were not even going that route.
No.
When you trying to be a doctor?
Well, I might not have went back to training if it wasn't for losing that fight. That was kind of like my whole point of that.
Yeah, no, yeah. I was biological sciences and just got done doing football and everything. So I was like, I needed to do something to compete. Like flag football and stuff's fun, but once you stop playing the sport you've been playing your whole life and you don't have anything to compete in, this is like as an adult, you don't have many avenues that you can compete in stuff. Like you don't have, if you're not in the MLB, you're not going to go play baseball. If you're not in the NFL, you're not going to be playing really any football unless you're like XFL, which even then it takes a lot to get into there. Like unless you're playing like some semi-pro half-ass league, like you got to find a way to get that competition out. And that's what it was for me.
What do you think? You think there's got to be under 5,000 professional MMA fighters, right?
No, not professional MMA fighters. Now,
Way
people in
more.
the UFC, I think the last I checked, it was like 2,400, 2,500.
What do you think altogether in MMA though? MMA still, I mean, even
Oh,
though I mean the
lot.
UFC is number one, but a professional MMA fighter is a professional MMA fighter.
Yeah, but you could be a professional and you can be terrible.
Yeah,
Right.
you could be a professional MMA fighter right now if I paid you to go do an MMA fight.
No, bro, I got cerebral palsy. I'm handicapped. I'm not
Well,
even
we're
still be
just
a professional MMA
we're
fighter.
just
I
saying
don't pay you to
that's
do an
how
MMA fight.
you can be a professional. It's like making it. It's not like I play pro football. Like you did.
Actually, you sound perfect for this guy.
We got somebody
We
just
got
for
somebody
you.
right for you.
Luckily, the
Gotta be in a
Mississippi Athletic
wheelchair.
Commission will allow it too.
All right, so
I got
Let's-
to get my jabs in.
let's get So, do you want to share audio for this, or do you want to just go over the video?
You can share audio. Yeah, I mean, I put good audio on this. This is my video.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
your video. You can
Yeah.
put the audio on,
The
and then
audio-
if you want to speak in between, or if you want to
Mhm.
pause it or have them pause it or whatever, I don't know.
All right, guys, we're about to pull this video up on Brandon's fight. Give me a second. I'm gonna keep the audio, and then I gotta make sure. Let's see. It's been a while since I shared.
Well, first, I don't even know if anybody knows what's going on. So, in my fight, in my last fight, it was a title fight, world title fight, 135 to be the champ against a guy named Randy Costa, who I'd fought one time in the UFC before, and I beat him. And he was just coming off a huge win over Jason Knight, who's a killer. And he finished him pretty bad in the first round, TKO, knockout, whatever y'all want to call it. And the dude, they were all excited about him coming out, and he puts on a show, and he like starts fast and throws good, and we knew he was going to come out and start fast, and same way we did the first time. And he's a good striker. I'm a good striker. I knew I was going to take some damage. And I knew that he's mentally weak as far as when he comes to getting hit, or if he doesn't feel like he can win the fight. So in the beginning, for the first minute and a half, he's throwing as hard as he can and as fast as he can, trying to get me out of there. He sees that I can take it, and I waving him on like, come on, let's go. There was one point at the fight where I thought that this eye had swollen shut because I tried to see out of it, and it was just like super blurry and I couldn't see at all. I was like, oh, well, that eye, I'm not gonna be able to see out of that eye for the rest of the fight. And then a couple of punches later, I wipe it, and it was my Vaseline off my face and hit my eyeball. So I was like, oh, I can see. Great. That makes it a little easier. But then
I didn't have Vaseline, by the way. That was the commission did that.
Yeah, no, Vaseline, they put it on my face. But so then I wipe whatever, and I'm like, all right, come on. And there's a point where you can see, like I said, you can see it in their eyes when you're fighting, and they're like, oh shit, I don't know if I can win now. I saw it in his eyes, like, there's one point where we're clinched up and he was throwing everything. I said, that's all you got, you better bring it. And then we got to the cage, went for like a single leg or something just to slow down the pace of the fight, and he's ended up turning me back to the cage. That was a combo, boom, 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 I'm blocking it. And it looks like I'm getting a hot hit a lot more than I am. I am getting hit some. I only had the one cut right here, but it's not as much as people think because I'm defending them and I'm slipping them. And then I make the punches look like they hit just because I move just enough to where it's not a big movement, so I can move again or I can counter.
I got to make a video on that.
And whenever he finally gets done throwing, and I'm like, come on. And then you can see him like take a big breath and back up. And then I start throwing and he backs up and he comes and throws a jab. And at the same time he throws a jab, I make it look like his arm's like sitting on my shoulder. I barely slip and I land my overhand over the top, right over the top of his arm. And it cuts him right here. And at that point in the video, you'll see him start to back up. He's like, oh shit. Like, I didn't know it was going to hurt like this, because when he beat Jason, he never got hit. I think he got hit one time, and when he got hit, and I told everybody about this coming up to the fight, it's like you see Jason only lands one punch in that fight, and he hits him with like a hook, and he checks his nose to make sure he's not bleeding, and then he's like, all right, and he starts going back and beating Jason.
Yeah, I just want to say, like, me and Brandon both analyze fights a lot, and I didn't agree with Brandon on his when he first analyzed that, and he told me like, oh man, I could see he's going to quit as soon as I hit him hard. And I'm like, man, that's not a lot of information to make that thought off of. And he was 100% right. Like,
look, I can see it. So I can see it. Like how I called it is like, he's got that bitch in him. Yeah. You know how people say you got that dog in him, you got that bitch in him. So have his mug on there. No, I ain't gonna do that. I don't hate Randy. It is what it is. It ain't his fault that the commission did what they did, but I still think he's a bitch for backing out. Now back to the story. I hit him with that, and he starts backing up, and I can see it in his eyes. He's like, whoa, what the fuck was that? And then he like tries to stand there for a second. I hit him with a couple more. He backs up to the cage, and I'm trying to not get too close. And he's doing good about blocking my punches there for a minute. So I'm like, all right, I fake like I'm going to go low. I fake like I'm going to go low.
Thanks, man.
With a punch, and I don't. I come back up, left uppercut, and hits him, and you see right then, he was like, it doesn't drop him. It's not like a punch that somebody drops and kind of almost knocks you out. It's like a flash knockout. It's one that he chose. He's like, I'm done. I hit him with that left uppercut, and he's like, nope, it starts to go down, and then I start to throw my punches there. He starts to go to his butt. I was going to throw my left knee, but he adjusted back to the right, so I switched, throw my right knee, and I throw the right knee, and it hits boom, right here, because I was throwing to the body. So you're legally allowed to throw knees to the body of a downed opponent. You cannot throw a knee to the head of a downed opponent. Downed is anything but their feet on the ground. So his butt was on the ground, so I adjusted through my right knee, and I landed, boom, here. And I knew it didn't hit him in the head. The ref was, if you watch the video, you see the ref already about to stop it right before then, and then I throw the knee, and he's like, and he gets in there, and I thought he stopped the fight, so I'm like going around the ring celebrating and stuff. And he's like, no. I get back around. He's like, no. You need him in the head. I said, immediately you see me say, no, that's to the body. That's to the body. So it wasn't like I had time to think about, did I land to the head or not? I knew immediately that I landed to the body. And then that's when all this other stuff started.
Yeah. And, from my perspective, I was in Brandon's corner. I was if you're looking at it from behind Brandon on the right side of the ring, and I saw the knee hit clearly to a legal spot. So I was celebrating, and then I saw the referee acting kind of weird, and I'm like, oh shit, he's going to try to say this was a foul. So I tried to get Brandon to calm down because I know Brandon is, and well, the rest was history, I guess.
Bad history.
Yeah.
You're ready to dive in this video?
Let's do it.
All right. Do we want to have where you can have audio too while you're watching and on top of your audio?
Yeah, that way
Sure.
Mike can talk.
All right.
I need my Randy Costa's got that bitch in him shirt.
All right. So we're going in here.
I like Randy too, but you definitely called that fight 100%. I think you called that fight start to finish, how you were going to win, how it was going to go.
I said
Like he might land good. He might almost knock me out.
Hey guys, can you do me a favor? Can y'all tell me if y'all can hear us right now while we're talking, please? Just
Can you hear us?
We just want to make sure that y'all can hear the boys, because it's been a long time since I did shared screen.
Literally in the interview, I said he's going to come out and hit me with some shots.
Just yes, no, maybe.
Thumbs up.
Maybe not.
Randy Costa's a bitch.
Anything? Yes. Okay.
All right, we got one.
All right, we're gonna go into his boys. And now.
Sanford, and here I'm gonna play a few angles on Brandon's final exchange against Randy Costa in the world title fight at Gamebred.
This is right towards
And,
it, right
we're gonna
there. That's
take a
that
look at
punch
this
that
knee
hurt
very,
him. You
very
see him start to
closely
back
and
up,
see where it lands and where the
He tried to
impact of the
clinch,
strike lands.
push him off.
Now, sometimes
he's
the actual
like,
point of the
like
knee
this,
doesn't
like
have
this,
to connect
this
to the
uppercut
head on
right
the
here. I
ground
look like go
for it to
low.
be an illegal blow.
Now he's
Because
like,
if
I'm
the
done.
impact of
I'm
the
done. I'm not
strike
taking any
goes
more
to the
shots.
head. Here's That would make Brandon's got his
So
hands on him. His hand is on his face. The knee goes into the hand, which goes into the head. That would be an illegal blow technically, because the impact of the blow goes into the head. Same thing if the thigh hits the head with full impact. That would be an illegal blow. There's no way. But that doesn't happen. You can see what I think the his commission knee is going saw was far they're looking below at the this head. weird The angle hand. here Randy's through got his the hand leg. posted in his It's head, the which moves his chest head. His arm tattoo gets hit a little bit. that looks But kind of it's dark, his arm like it could be and then Randy's his hair. body that take And they're all the thinking maybe impact Randy of that ducked blow his head down at the point of the and knee, made- and it's very pointy. It's not like his thigh is coming up. His thigh does not come up and hit the head at all.
Right? You can see his
All right?
chin strap
If
just coming
anything,
down.
maybe a little I think bit of that's his the leg thing that hair they could have brushes seen. the hand Randy has over his face while his knee is going down into the chest and into the arm. But no part of that knee strike makes any contact with Randy's head at all. All right. And I don't even think it brushes his hand that's on his head. It hits his arm, and his arm is connected to his hand, which he has posted on his
Those
head.
guys are biased.
But if you look
We're
at this
the
very
refs. We know
carefully,
what we're talking
Randy's
about.
head
These fighters, they don't know shit.
way above
Like this is the
wherever
call.
that strike
That's the
starts
thing that
to
kind of annoyed me.
and you can see this from a few different angles.
I
here.
think that they're
He's
kind of
watching
like
slow
raining
motion
down
there.
their
Here's
knowledge
an
of
image
that.
of that same
I
video.
was right here on that.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
go to the next one. That's right before the knee lands. He's trying to show where the
This is
knee
where
started
was.
out.
We just saw. Look at how high
That's
Randy's
where
head
the knee
is. Up
lands.
by
My God,
Randy
Look at his
Howard's.
head, how high his head is.
Knee is going far below. It's like a foot below where his head is. Now the thigh doesn't even seem to make contact with Randy's hand.
So
But
with
if
that
it
being
made
said,
contact
go back
brushing
just
anything, it would have been Randy's
back
hand,
to where it
not
was
his
right
head.
there.
Yeah.
And
Didn't
you
make
see where his
contact with
hand is in
Randy's
between.
hand.
They tried to
But
say that
if
my
it made
thigh
contact
hit his
brush-
after the knee
his
didn't
knee
land.
is going
They tried to say the thigh hit. If you look in between my hand, my arm, and his head is his hand. You can see his white. You can see his fingers, and you can see his
You see
white
his whole
hand.
hand wrap. His head's way up here. They saw his chest tattoo, and they thought that his chest tattoo was his cornrows. That's what happened with whenever. So our commission, like they're newer, and I think that they're trying to do the right thing, but they send it to some higher level. That's how I feel. I mean, I don't.
I'm gonna have to disagree with them.
I know, but I don't.
Everybody's open to
We
their
don't have to agree on
opinions.
everything, all right? I think they're good people, but they're newer to this. You know, they're from boxing, and they're trying to do the right thing for MMA. They want to grow the sport, I think.
So
And
tell me this, Mike. All right,
Yeah.
you're trying to do the right thing. What picture? What video? It shows in that video. Do you see my knee or thigh touching his head?
I got you. But so let's say, all right, so I think the thing is that they understand that they're not MMA experts, so they're trying to talk to, well, so you and I are, right? But the thing is, you and I are going to be, like, unquestionably, you would have to consider us biased on this, right?
Absolutely. But now,
So-
if I saw my knee hitting his head,
Yeah,
you're saying that,
No,
then
I
I
know.
would
Yeah, yeah.
I would say
Hey,
they were right. If I saw my thigh hitting this,
and I know you would, but like they can't assume that, right? And they might not know what they're looking at, right? So they have to send it to somebody higher up in the commission that has more MMA experience, and those guys are just inadequate.
See, this is why
in my
this is
opinion.
why I don't get when
You
you
know?
when you're trying to, like, you're defending them right here.
Yeah.
They don't know what they're looking at. All you need to be able to look
I was
at
talking
is
about-
seeing a head or hitting a knee or a thigh.
Hey,
Neither.
yeah. What I'm talking about is
One second though.
Yeah.
We need to go back. I know y'all don't like y'all. We need to reset this because when we did your audio,
It cut off.
No, when we did your audio talking and y'all talking, the comments they got confused. So we need to redo the video with no audio, and y'all got to just play by play it again.
That's fine.
That's was
fair. Was the audio coming through?
It was, but it was you talking on.
It was you talking on the YouTube and talking on
and
the
then.
mic.
All right.
So I think we need to
hear it, so.
let's just do
that audio only.
So let's do another share screen.
No.
Are y'all cool with that?
Yeah, we're just gonna turn that audio off.
Oh,
Yeah.
that audio off. All right.
Yeah. So I'm gonna turn that off. Guys, thank y'all for the feedback. It happens. Look, we're figuring it out. So we're gonna go into. I'm gonna share it again. All right, and then so when I share it, I'm gonna take this audio off, and then just do one more check for us when we share this that y'all can hear them.
If you guys want to see that audio, you can check it out on YouTube.
You can. You're more welcome. Go subscribe to.
I might just subscribe to Mike if he changes his mind on this commission.
If I get 100 followers,
Hi, Mike. All right. 1 second. We go back to StreamYard. All right. So, can somebody tell us if y'all can hear us right now? Dun, dun, dun.
I think they all quit whenever we were trying to talk over the video.
Yes, they can hear us. Okay.
All right.
Do y'all want to go with are y'all fine with this being the screen and y'all being a little bigger? You okay with that one? This look?
I don't care. What can they see?
Yeah, they can see it. We could go to this. We could do this.
Just
one.
go to where they can see. Go to where they can see them.
Bigger, and we could just talk. You know?
Yeah, they don't need to see. They don't need to see our ugly mugs.
How about this small one and down here in the corner?
We don't need to be on there.
No, the very bottom.
That's fine.
I want to see y'all. What if y'all fighting on here?
The bigger this is, though, the better it's going to be
losing.
for our talk.
Okay. All right, guys. They love each other, so keep that in mind.
I don't even know this guy.
All right, let's fight.
Now you're talking. Well, we're nothing right here. Right there. That's the punch that hurt him. Boom. You see him backing up. He didn't like that. That was like the first real hard punch I landed. Now he's like, he's not even trying to throw back. He's hurt. This uppercut hurts him more. He's like, all right, I'm done. That hurts too much. Throw the knee to the body, not even close to the head. The ref's behind me to an angle where he can't see. It just looks like he sees his head move and hit the cage. It looks like I need him in the head. Now this goes on to Mike.
Yeah, so I think here we can see the knee starting to go in on the arm, and it goes in towards the chest. You see Randy's head up by the shorts. Now, I think when you're looking through Brandon's legs, it looks, I think this is what the commission must have seen. It looks like maybe Randy ducks his head down when Brandon throws the knee, and when he pulls it back, you see something dark there behind the hand, and it's his chest tattoo. It's his fucking chest tattoo. His head is way up above Brandon's shorts. That head was never anywhere near the knee. Now, when we did our appeal, I talked to the commission about this. We pointed that out. They seemed to understand where we were coming from, and they asked us to write a write-up or whatever else. So I did. We wrote up a big email. I made this video. But I think that they sent it to some higher-ups in the ABC, and they spent half a second watching it, not giving a shit. Saw a chest tattoo, said that's his head. It need the head. But, like, there's no way that knee hit the head. And if there's a rule that I don't understand about, like, that counting as a knee to the head, they need to explain that rule to me. I asked for that, and I haven't gotten that yet. So
well, right here. So what the commission had said at this point was, once I showed the videos, like, well, your knee didn't hit him in the head, but your thigh hit his head, which did not happen.
we see the fingers here.
You can see his hand wrap, the white thing in between my arm and my leg and his head, and you can see his fingers above that, and you can see how low my knee is. And so they were trying to go off of that, and then we showed them this angle, and then that's when they reconvened while we were doing the meeting, the appeal, and they came back and they said, all right, well, you did good what you were supposed to do today, and you made us rethink what we said, so we're gonna give us another week or so, and we're gonna look at it and we'll get back to you. So they went from me kneeing him in the head to my thigh hitting his head, to even in the interview that even if your thigh touched him in the head, then that's a knee to the head. And then they didn't try to say it was a knee to the head. They tried to say it was a kick to the head, because anything you throw with your below your waist is considered a kick. So if your thigh hits him in the head, then that's a kick to the head to a downed opponent, which is not true whatsoever.
Yeah, and I think what it comes down to is if you throw a kick or you throw a knee, any impact from that blow that goes into the head could be considered a kick or knee to the head, right? Whether it lands at the point of intention of impact, or if it's like another part of the strike that impacts, and that's understandable. But with your strike, that didn't happen. That's what it comes down to.
And then even if it did come down to that, even if my thigh touched his head, which it didn't have, it wasn't coming with the force that the knee was in a downward angle, hitting him in the arm. If he would have put his arm there, I would have hit him with nothing in nowhere but the body. I think that they have had some bad calls over the years. And the last time they had one down here, they got criticized for the call that they made with the fight that happened. And so they wanted to overcorrect. They don't want to, we're going for our Mississippi guy because they're the Mississippi Athletic Commission. We're going to go for our Mississippi guy. So they're overcorrecting by saying that they are not going to overturn this, which is, to me, just stupid. Unless you're blind, you should be able to see that knee does not touch his head and that the knee's down by the elbow. The thigh is not touching the head. His hand is in between there. To me, it's either corruption. They don't want to, they don't want something to, somebody's telling them if they don't do something, then maybe they'll come back and saves the company so many thousands of dollars from not having to pay me, or they're just trying to overcorrect because they've made so many calls in the past, which is dumb because this is a simple call. And
we're not talking about the money, because we talk like whatever, by your contract, you're not allowed to, I
can't say the exact,
but guys, what it comes down to is world title and money on the line.
Yeah. And I don't necessarily agree with Brandon's take on that. I don't think that is exactly what's going on. I think that there's definitely some nervousness within the commission to do the right thing, because there has been a lot of controversial calls here on bigger fights. And I think Mississippi, like we look back throughout the history of combat sports, Mississippi is a staple in combat sports history. Like we got to think, like the first ever bare knuckle, or the first act for professional sports ever took place in Mississippi. The first American bare knuckle MMA, well, back then it was boxing, world title fight. Boxing was more like MMA back then, but that happened in Mississippi. And that was the first professional fight ever, where guys didn't have to do any other job. They could just fight and get paid enough to just fight. That happened here in Mississippi. And then the world title fight happened in Mississippi up north. The bare knuckle American title happened on the coast here in Gulfport between Texas Avenue and Arkansas in 90. And then the world title fight between Kilrain and John L. Sullivan happened up in, was it Hattiesburg? They got a whole street dedicated to it. I think it's Hattiesburg.
Well, I'm going to say this. Mike has to be, can't be as opinionated as I am, because he still has to coach people that are fighting for them. And I have to coach people. Maybe I will, maybe I won't, unless they fight out of the state. I don't know. I haven't decided that. But he still has to deal with the commission. And so he's not going to say, I don't know if he's saying what he really thinks, or if he's just saying this to,
I always say what I really think.
And I just can't see how you can make the call. Even just like how judging and having judges and the commission all came by is by the mob, so they can control what happened in fights and who won. And we all know this a fact. It's a fact.
Well, that's true. I told you.
All right. So we know it's a fact.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, the commission makes money off. The commission's still making money off people getting licenses and all this, and that's just so they can get money in their pocket. It's not stuff that actually has to happen. And maybe you need to go to the doctor. You need to get your physical and make sure you're fit to fight. Do you need a license? No, because that license, anybody can go online right now, fill out the form, and get a license. That money goes to the commission. The commission is approved by the governor.
So it's kind of like
it's
like a fishing license.
Anybody can get it. And
but
they ain't going to deny anybody, because they're going to want your money. Now, if you pass the physical or not, that's on you. Like if you're not in shape, that, or you're not healthy, then of course they're not going to let you fight then. But they still got their commission. They still got their license money. And I mean,
they can let you fight. So, I mean, this is another thing. Like I definitely understand where you're coming from, because I do have to deal with the commission, whatever else, but I don't let that affect my opinion. Now I believe in choosing the correct words for sure. But I never change who I am or what I'm going to say. I'm a very honest person. I think you know that, right? So, I mean, I try, honesty is what I come forward with. And what I truly feel is that I think that they're trying to do the right thing. I just don't think that they know what the right thing is, and they don't know where to get that information because they can't get it from me and you because obviously we have a stake in this. So even though I'm not biased, they can't know.
Do you
that
feel
for
like?
sure,
Do you
know?
feel like that you should have?
I think that they're going to.
So is this one of those things where you can't trust your eyes?
No, I think that's
Don't
I think
hear
what
what
it
you
comes down
say.
to is
Don't hear
I think that's why they looked at it again.
Don't
It was
believe
like,
what you
holy
see
shit.
and don't believe what you hear.
No, it's not even that. So I think they saw the video that we presented and they're like, holy shit, this guy didn't need the head. Like, we got to look at this again. And I think they probably went back to the same people. And those guys that they went to are corrupt scumbags.
Well,
like,
if we're going off of that,
So
then
the higher
if we're
up
going off
guys.
of what they
Yeah.
said, they also said they didn't get their feelings hurt about what I posted on social media beforehand.
Well,
And they also said that they don't care what anybody else
Don't
says.
scroll that.
They didn't care what anybody else from a different commission or anything said.
Yeah.
And obviously they did. If that's the case, they went by that. So they're something.
well, they
Can I
also
say
said that
something
they're
real
only
quick, though?
boxing guys,
I mean,
right?
y'all been close friends for a long time.
Yeah.
He did make that video, and he did fight for. He has fought. He's been.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. But I'm going to argue with him on what I feel is
Me
for
and
him
Brandon
say-
argue
for
all the
him-
time, and that's not a bad thing.
Yeah,
Like,
and there's
arguments
nothing-
help me get better. They help him get better.
They're not going to fight in my studio right now, guys.
or are we? No, there's nothing wrong with arguing. Now,
Arguing is good.
I'm not arguing with him about the only thing I'm arguing with him about is him saying that he thinks that they're trying to do the right thing. I think if they thought they were trying to do the right thing, that's an easy call to make.
And I don't disagree that it's an easy call to make for an expert. I don't think that they're like MMA experts yet, and that's the thing.
Well,
like,
then they
and
don't
that's-
need to be there.
But the thing is, who does need to be there?
Hold
then,
on a second.
You need to be the head of the
But
commission.
I'm a coach too. Like, how am I going to be?
But hold on.
unbiased?
Hold on.
All right, well,
one
then-
second, Brandon.
right?
Hold on. So people
Yeah.
understand is what they're talking about is even though they have like the game bred promotion, they're fighting for them. The commission is the ones that call the fights, correct?
Yeah, each state has a commission.
Mhm.
It, just like in every sport, or I guess not every sport, every state has a fighting commission. So if I go to Florida, I have to get a license in Florida by the Florida Athletic Commission. Mississippi has their own commission. It's ran by our state is ran by 3 commissioners. One dude who's only been there for 4 months didn't even know anything about the thing when he came to the. But that being said, one's a guy that used to box a long time ago. The other one has no experience in fighting. And I think the third one that just got hired has no experience either. So you're hiring dentists and doctors and lawyers and these people just like you do, and just like every commission, even the UFC, their judges are doctors and dentists and everything too. Like, you got to get people that have done the sport before to be able to call it. And I understand that people don't want, as people can be biased towards their people. You have to find the people that aren't.
Well, judging is a whole nother can of worms. So we're going to try this because this doesn't actually affect judging, but judging is a big problem in MMA in general, up to the UFC, like you're saying. Like, there's dentists judging the UFC that have no idea what they're looking at. And I've been a part of like decisions that
And
they.
so the judges are commission based too, or is it just
They are. The
you
judges
vote people in?
are picked by the commission, 100%. Yeah, the
Okay.
judges have to be
We-
approved of the commission.
We had one judge there at the never fought before. Was telling us how many times he had made a bad call.
I don't think that's right. I mean, that's why I looking
I
outside.
know you don't want to hear that. I know you don't want me saying that, but I don't care.
I don't even know.
No,
what you're
but
talking
I'm
about
saying-
right now.
I can't say names. I'm not saying names.
But I'll tell you right now, though, I think
I know Jason Knight's first UFC fight, or the one when he won that bonus, he had that dentist picked
Oh,
against him.
Yeah.
And that fight,
Clear
that
fight.
Yeah, he won like
Jim
probably.
Ellers.
Oh yeah, God, it was such an easy 30-27 at least, and he lost a split decision. Oh, he won a split decision.
I think if you're going to be
Crazy.
in a situation of commission based, I think you have to have a background of, because like Mike, you say some shit that don't make sense to me. Still, like with technique, I'm a watcher. I'm a
I'll make it
fan.
make sense to you. Just give me a second.
Well, no, but I'm saying like, but when it comes to certain things, y'all see that nobody else sees.
How can you be a judge in a fight? And we're gonna go back to the commission part. But how can you be a judge on a fight and not know what you're judging? If you don't know you don't know what a rear naked choke is, or how to get out of a rear naked choke, or how close somebody is to actually getting a rear naked choke, or an armbar, or a triangle, or whatever the case may be, you don't need to be judging. And if you're a boxing coach, or you're a boxing judge, you don't know any of that. All you know is punching and kicking, or all you know is punching. You don't know kicking, you don't know wrestling, you don't know attempted takedowns, you don't know how to stop that takedown, you don't know reversals, you don't know anything. So that's like telling my kid to go read a book. He don't know how to read, but he's trying. That's what this judge is doing.
Yeah, and
That's what this commission's doing right now too.
No, well, it's every commission's got the same problem, And I went up and I've done. So I spent a lot of money flying around the world, going to different commission training sessions, especially governed by the ABC with the new rules coming out. I was actually a big fan of that. I'm glad that they took a step in the right direction. When the ABC in 2017, they made new scoring criteria and rules. They're trying to make things a little bit more objective, which I thought was a great step in the correct direction. But it's like, all right, well, we took that step and we're not going to do anything for another 7 years. And then we do take another step. It's going to be fucking lateral and stupid. You know, like they changed the grounded definition rules, which didn't help anything at all.
It's kind of like the NFL kickoff thing. What the hell is that?
Helped nothing, you know? So they made a lateral step on a grounded opponent's definition, and it literally is just the dumbest thing ever. So not good. But anyway, I've studied these rules very thoroughly. And what I found is that it's mostly the people that want to do judging and they get certified for it are guys that have good incomes and like fighting and like to watch fights. And they want to, I'll be a judge. Why not? I know somebody in the commission. I've got a connection, you know, whatever. And some of them are guys that like maybe used to box or fight or whatever, but most of them are just regular dudes and they're just judging and they don't really know what they're, so they get put through this adequacy test. And I was a part of it. And they have to like show what a Kimura looks like, what a Rudy Cho looks like. And most of them can't even pass it. Like it's pretty bad. Like,
I guarantee you,
if
most of the judges around here are, if you had somebody in a Von Flu, because it looks like you're the one getting,
they don't even,
you looks like you're getting choked.
Like Kimuras.
I know, but I'm just saying, if I was to put somebody in a Von Flu, which is a choke, when somebody's trying to guillotine you and you have them on your, and they're on their back and you're inside control, which I don't know what it is. But if somebody, it looks like I'm getting choked. And then I bet they're thinking, the judge is like, oh man, this dude on the bottom is going to win. He has a choke. And then the fight gets stopped because the dude on the bottom got choked out. Instead, they're probably like, what the fuck? Well,
that actually happened. So I don't know if you saw Jason's fights with
against
Harry Balls or whatever his name was.
Yeah, Harry from Tennessee.
Harry. Yeah.
Johnson,
that's it. He can't say his name without giggling.
Obviously, we can't either.
Yeah, we can't either. But I didn't think of that until Jason. Like Jason said it without. He couldn't say his name without laughing. So now I think of that every time. But
appreciate you, Taylor.
Yeah. But Harry Johnson, great fighter, cool guy. Jason beat him with a Von Flu choke. It was one of the fights I didn't corner him for. It was up in northern Mississippi, and after the fight, the referee, nobody knew what happened, so Jason had to announce it himself. They probably put subtitles up for anyone that was out of Mississippi watching. That was just the Von Flu choke. All right. And he put it up there and everyone cheered. And he won the fight that way. Right. There's another fight. One of my favorites. This guy, Chad George out of California, is a really good fighter. Fought in Bellator for a while. And Chad George, good black belt. And he fought in Bellator. He ended up choking his opponent unconscious with a Von Flu choke. And being a good-hearted human being, let go of the choke, went to knee on belly and held him down and told the ref, hey, ref, this guy's asleep. The referee said, fuck you. No, he ain't. He's like, dude, ref. He got off the guy, pointed at him and said, ref, stop this fight right now. And the ref's like staring at him saying no. And then he looks down. The guy's obviously unconscious. The ref stops the fight. But it was one of those situations that shows how important referee adequacy is. Yeah, I know, for real. And that was years and years ago. But that was a bad one.
This is crazy. Real quick,
though, Chad George, Von Flu show. Google
my
that.
uncle's in here. Uncle Tommy Soche right there. Got image striping. He's my uncle that's leading this my dad's funeral and stuff. And I appreciate you. Look, I don't know how you're doing it. He had a meeting today doing business work. I'm so proud of you. Him and my dad have been best. He's not even my real uncle, but he's been my dad's best friend for 47 years and bought my first pair of rollerblades. I don't know how you have the energy, but you've took over and you've been amazing. I love you. If you want striping, Image Striping is his company. I don't know why he loves me. He loves us that much. He's here. Like I told you, he's like, don't quit that podcast. Get your ass on that podcast tonight.
Hey, appreciate you watching.
Yeah, I love you so much.
This is probably boring to people that don't know anything about fighting.
But that's what a podcast is. Like I was telling you, like they had a podcast about 2 years ago, right? And they're bringing it back. But yeah, it's just different topics. I'm more fascinated with it, but that comes to the commission. It's like, I don't think you could be a part of stuff unless you can understand the sport. It's just sitting there, like you said, like it doesn't matter. You have to understand sport because if you had a trained professional that understands the sport, decisions are made better and more efficient.
Well,
yeah,
this
understanding
Shout out to
sports.
JD
So
Power.
there's a difference here. Like, so understanding, like, you can understand basketball and football and watch a basketball and football game and get mad at the plays getting made, right? But not maybe understand the reason why that expert level coach made that play that may or may not have worked out. So that's kind of like what I'm talking about is the commission. It's not like they don't like MMA or that they don't care about it or they don't. Some states it is, by the way. I don't think that's the case here at all. I just think that they're just not as experienced with it as enough to be confident in making decisions on calls like this.
well,
which
then
is
you
a
get
problem.
experienced people until you can teach new people.
And that's
like running a business.
Yeah, I agree.
All
with
right,
you.
well,
Yeah.
we're just gonna let all the experienced people leave, and then we're gonna start with
Well,
brand new people.
We got to think like how many people are. So for real, Brandon, for 1 second, right here, how many people do you think are on the level of you and I with knowledge in MMA tactics, being able to look at it, see what's going on, like on the deeper level?
If
How
you
many
don't,
people out there, really? I
you
mean,
talking about just in Mississippi?
yeah, just in Mississippi. How many
Well,
people? You think in
if I
Mississippi?
don't know. I think there's some. I think for sure.
There's a handful.
Yeah.
They're all coaches, probably.
Cody Floyd up in Tupelo, I think
Mhm.
for sure could be one. He fought in Bellator for a while.
Yeah.
I think there, and even if you couldn't get the people from Mississippi,
how many-
then you get people from outside.
So give me a number. How many in Mississippi or near Mississippi that you think are on the level of you and I, where they could see what we're seeing? You know, like obviously Masvidal, guys like that, you know, obviously can, but they're not around here, right? They're not available. Masvidal probably makes $50,000 just for going hang out at a party.
Well, yeah, but if we're talking about just Mississippi, not many. But that's when you recruit from
But that's what
from
they have
out.
to. Well, so
You-
then how many outside even? You know, like
plenty in Louisiana. You got plenty of people that coach people
Who?
in the UFC. Tim Crater,
Creator, all right, yeah, Creator for sure. All right,
Tim Crater for sure.
but Creator's busy as hell. You know, he owns like 50 businesses, right?
I know he owns.
He owns like 50 Serve Pros
Sir,
alone.
that's one business.
But he's got like a bunch of them. All
Yeah.
right. But then he's also got Gladiators Gym. He's in with the fucking
Well,
he's got his own little
you
show.
have him advise. You have him advise. If you all right, so you take the same video that we presented.
That's why I love podcasts. I get to
Yeah, you
You
watch
take
this.
the same video that we presented, and you have him come and advise. Like, all right, well, this is how this would go. This is happening.
I don't
right here.
disagree. Tim Creator, absolute awesome dude. He'd be great to be involved in any commission decisions. So I'm 100% on board with Tim Creator. I just think he's too damn busy.
Well, yeah, but then, like I said, if you're not full time commission, you just advise. You come in when they need your
Yeah, I don't disagree with that, but I don't know if he'd have time even to do that.
I'll be back.
He's been trying to come in and train.
I can hear you.
I mean, well, it's not even just about that. I think that you just have somebody come in from the outside to help out until you get your people trained properly.
Yeah.
And that just takes time. Now, at the same time, to get somebody trained properly, you're bringing in people that have fought before, so they know what to look for. They know what they're looking at. Judges, commission. You don't take people from boxing and bring them to MMA. You don't take MMA people. I think would be all right at doing boxing because you still have to box to do MMA.
Yeah.
Boxers doing MMA, they don't know what they're looking for. They're not looking for. They don't know how.
Well, it's
A
the same
kick
here with
make,
jiu-jitsu, too.
you kick somebody in the body and you land with the foot. It makes a loud slap. The loud slaps aren't what you want to hear. You want to hear the thud that doesn't sound like much, but it sounds like super solid. That thud that's not nearly as loud. That's the kick that hurts. And they'll hear the loud slap if they're a new judge, and they're like, "Oh man, that really hurt," or it leaves like a welt with the footprint.
Red footprint, right?
Yeah, that's not the stuff that hurts them, and they don't know that because
they
they've
don't know
never
that,
been kicked and they've never taken it or they've never given the kick. So you have to be firsthand in the experience to be able to know what you're doing. And if you don't, then you should have somebody advising you. And I don't think you should even be in that position if you haven't had the experience. And there's people out there that are going to be unbiased. Like if you put me in there to judge, I'm probably gonna be more biased towards the dude that I'm not. That's not I wasn't coaching.
I know. Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I know you'd probably be harder on the guys that you actually coach.
Yes,
and that's your personality type. I'm similar to that in a lot of ways. Not probably as harsh as you are, but but I can definitely agree with that. But I think that it's just there's not a lot of experience in this.
So tell me what needs to happen then.
I think we need more experience in this realm, but I think the biggest thing is it's the higher ups. Like that's the real problem. Like the real focus is the higher ups. I think within
that's the governor. They're the ones who appoint the commission.
I'm not even talking about. Yeah. Well, so this obviously. This is really government coordinated, issues, right? But I'm talking about the higher ups that like we have to look to. If you're in the commission, you don't know who to talk to. Be like, hey, I'm a part of the ABC. This is the governing body. What do I do? And the ABC, really, the guys at the very top, they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Most of them don't. And even the ones that do, they're egomaniacs. We have guys like John McCarthy and fucking Mark Goddard. They're good refs, by the way. Don't get me wrong. They're good refs. They know what they're talking about. They know what they're doing. But they want to be fucking stars. That's a problem. Like, these guys want their name out there. That's an issue. Why not more guys like
my favorite ref is Jason Herzog. He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu.
Herzog's great. And Herzog's got his name out there because he's good, not because he wants his name out there.
I know. I think he's by
Yeah.
far the best ref.
And he makes mistakes. He's made mistakes in one of your fights, but like, it was a reasonable mistake. The reason he made the mistake, I can relate to him. Like, that's a mistake I could have made.
Because we are human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, so Jason, like, first of all, Brandon saying Jason Herzog's the best is a very good reference, because Jason Herzog was reffing one of Brandon's fights where I didn't really agree with the ref's call on a stoppage. And in my opinion, I think the ref stopped that fight early, but he couldn't see what was happening. And it was reasonable.
Which fight was that?
Was that the Black Taro?
No, that was Herb Dean.
That was Herb Dean. All right, well, I like Herb Dean too. All right? So I still thought it was reasonable. All right. But I think he wasn't at a good angle to see what was going on fully, But which fights did he ref for you? It was
Randy Costa.
Costa. Who else? There wasn't one other.
No, Randy Costa.
All right. So
the only mistake he did is raise Randy's head when they said I won.
Yeah. All
right. So one thing I got to say is, outside looking in, is the fact that and I am Brandon's friend. When you look at a situation like that where he's got a family, a beautiful family, he's got kids, he works his ass off, and look, everybody chases money, and money goes a long way, whether it's helping you remodel your home, take your family on vacations, put your kids in sports. That's where I can understand that this shit is, to me, it's sad, because you put so much work into it, and like I said, he's got 4 beautiful kids. Yeah, I'm a dad. You have kids, it costs money. So it's having kids, especially now in our everything costs money, whether it's groceries at the grocery store, or I that's the one thing that honestly for me was like, hey, let's do this podcast, because there's a lot of work, and we talked about, like, the hours, 200 hours, 300 hours to train. Yeah, whether it's $300 or $500, 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000. I mean, it's still something in your mind. Oh, hey, that money could put a new roof on the house. That money could pay for my kids' college. I mean, it's just a situation where you got to, like, that's where I'm looking out going, I just wish the commission, for me, this is not them talking. This is me, and I'm allowed to talk how I feel, because I was there. I was so pissed off after that fight. I left my best friend DJ. He knew I was mad, and I didn't even say goodbye to him. I just got off my table and walked to my car, got my car, went to Taco Bell, went home, called Brandon that night after the fight, because I was so sad about it, because I just know, like, how much he's been training. But, like, that was a situation where I felt like I really felt my heart, because I mean, the whole stadium was just in boo, like, it was just.
Well, this is when we're talking about money. I know people, I'm not allowed to say what I make or anything, whatever. And people know, like, if you go to a local fight around here, somebody might make $500 and $500. When I say $500 and $500 to make weight and show up and fight, and then $500 if you win. I'm making a lot more than that. We'll say a car, or depends on your car. If you got a really nice truck, we'll say half of a really nice truck. And it doesn't even just affect me off of that. It affects me on my next fight, because on my next fight, how you do it when you sign a contract is you sign 3 or 4 fight contract. Each time you go up by a certain thousand. Like, I might go up 10,000. Should have gone up on the next one, $10,000 on the next one. Then the next fight, if you win that one, that only happens if you win. If you get considered a win. So a no contest or draw, anything, a loss, you stay at the same pay rate. So you lose, you're not making more. So the next fight, I should be making that much more on the next fight because I won. And to me, I mean, the money is a lot. Like, my daughter, somebody was talking to my daughter the other day, and she was like, I told my kids, they've been asking for one of these, because I got so many kids, we got to get a 6-seater golf cart. And they're like, Dad, can we get a golf cart when you soon? I was like, yeah, after I win my fight, because I was pretty confident I was going to win, even though it was a tough opponent. And then I got the no contest. It wasn't a win, so I didn't get paid my second half. So somebody asked my daughter told somebody the other day, she was like, yeah, we were going to get a golf cart, but my dad didn't win this fight. I was like, oh, like made me feel bad. But that being said, the money's good. I wish I'd had that extra money. My kids, family, everything. Wish I would have had that extra money. But to me, it's about the belt. I think this company is going to be huge, and to be the first ever 135 champ, like will put you at your name in the record books for that company. And to be the first ever 135 bare knuckle champ for a company that's going to be huge in a few years. And I mean, already big now, like getting multi-million views each fight. But I don't know. It's like being the first ever 135 champ in the UFC. So to me, that's what sucks because, I mean, I still fight for the title next time, but who's to say I win? You never know. Every fight you go in there, it doesn't matter if you're fighting somebody good or bad. You can always lose. It's a fight's a fight. So, I mean, I always think I'm going to win. I always train to win, but to not already have it when I know that I won that fight legally is what really sucks. You know what I mean? So that's what really pisses me off. I should have that belt on my bar right now at home, sitting there waiting on me to do the podcast.
We'd have it out right here.
Oh, I'd have that.
Also, these are like I said, I want my listeners, I want people to understand that was, a lot of my podcasts, you're going to see different stories. But Brandon is a friend of mine. Brandon is bringing back his podcast. I did not give a shit about fighting until Brandon started making me get into fighting. Then I realized how serious it was, how much he put in, because he's always sacrificed stuff. And, like our family does hang out and stuff. And it's like, it was just a situation for me. It's like, I thought fighters just fucking literally just signed up and fought. I was that ignorant towards the sport. Cause I was like, for me, it's fun. Like watch, people punch each other in the face, but like, nobody sees behind the scenes. Nobody sees like the sacrifices. And that's kind of, it's a true fighter sacrifice is, it cuts out from, you were mentally focused on fighting. So you're,
man.
And you don't get paid nobody pays you a draw to get you by the week for pay. You don't get paid by a draw.
Even in the UFC, you get paid when you fight and that's it. They don't pay you week to week or bi-weekly or whatever, or monthly. I think they should if you're strictly only fighting. But that being said, if you're going through all the fight camp, we talked about a fight camp earlier, people don't understand, like once you sign that contract, we got these chicken nuggets right here. Because I was like, man, I'm hungry to go get something to eat. I'd never be able to eat that on a fight camp. And I don't even like McDonald's, but I was hungry. But when it comes to the fight camp, I'm probably 170 right now. And I fight at 135. And when I fight a title fight, that's 135.0 or less. It means I have to lose 35 pounds.
You can't go 1 pound over.
Can't go 0.2 over. If you do, you get fined. That being said, if it's an 8-week camp, it's a strict 8 weeks of eating, basically being keto, drinking water. Like I'll drink a couple of these Coronas every now and then. I used to drink Budweiser, but there's too many carbs. Like I'm not even playing. I'm being serious. And then when it gets down to the end, like if you ever look at us, like we look drawn out. You can see cheekbones. Like it literally looks like I have worms because you see all the veins inside of my stomach. Like it looks pretty crazy. And then you still have to deal with all this shit where you have to do the media, and then you have to actually fight once you rehydrate, and you have to deal with all the shit thinking about your opponent and all this. And I don't really worry about that too much. But in the fight, you watch the fights, and people that even might know about all that stuff beforehand, they don't understand that when they watch people fight, they think they're just in there fighting. They don't understand. Like it's like a chess game to me. I'm in there. I do this. He's going to do that. We train this. Like we've watched video beforehand. Like he reacts to this and he does this. So if I throw this punch, he's going to. Oh wait, shit!
Y'all watching film?
We watch film.
I know that.
so whenever I throw this cross, he might slip this way to move out of the way. So then I'm going to set it up. When I throw this cross, I'm going to throw this right head kick behind because I know he's going to do it. I might do it a few times ahead of time, just throw the 2 and make sure he's going to do it. Then I throw the 2 and the head kick comes up behind. That's how Leon Edwards beat Kamaru Usman. Like you learn all that little stuff. And people, when they watch the fight, they think people are just in there. It's blood sport and they're just in there big dummies and they don't
no brain.
Yeah, they're just airheads just fighting. But no, you're literally playing a human chess match where I'm trying to set you up. I'm trying to set this move up, and hopefully I can knock you out with it.
Yeah, one of the things Brandon and I spend a lot of time on is figuring out how our opponent and their coach are going to try to beat us or our guy. And once we figure that out, then we know how to beat them. So
Yeah, but to be honest with you, I didn't know
that's a
that
big
shit.
factor. Yeah, it's a big
I
factor.
didn't know shit.
It's a lot like I'm
It's kind of
sure
cool to know this.
I'm sure it's kind of similar to how like anybody in any profession with the, like tennis or even lawyers or debaters or whatever, they're gonna figure out what they're gonna get hit with first. Yeah, we're master debaters basically.
So y'all
Sometimes you overcoach, so sometimes you overthink it, and you do too much. So, like,
Great. Well, then
because they're watching your tape too.
Yeah.
no, what I'm saying is sometimes you like, oh, maybe this coach are making. They see us doing this, and they're gonna adjust to that, and they don't. So you might overthink something, but we don't usually. That doesn't happen.
Yeah,
I've seen it. I've seen it.
A
happen.
good fighter and their coach, they're watching the same film y'all watching.
Yeah,
it's a trade-off.
Well, sometimes they don't like watch. They don't like think into it that much. They don't like. I had a fight last weekend. One of my guys made a pro debut, and they didn't know he was a southpaw. So I mean, like things like that happen for sure.
Well, not even that. Most people will get good at watching film on the person they're fighting, and they'll watch that, but they don't go back and watch film on themselves to see where they're showing they have tails. Like a tail is like if I go to throw a punch, and then every time I go to throw the punch, I drop my hand first, and then. Or if I go to throw my jab, I bring my elbow.
You're criticizing yourself. You're picking yourself apart.
You should, because you're trying to pick them apart, but you
can give them that info too. You can fake that info if you want.
Yes.
So like at the level Brandon's at, he can like actually do that shit and fight sometimes, and then save like not doing it when he actually really needs to not do it.
So people don't understand it goes to that level where it's literally check. We're not playing checkers. We're playing chess.
Yeah, it's like that. Who did that spinning backhand recently on the fight? Watch UFC. I don't know his name. Did the spinning backhand?
Oh, that was against Colby Covington. Colby Covington. No, he did that spinning back kick. It's pretty good.
I don't know. I'll get back, but I mean,
Steve Peterson was spinning back fist against the spinning back fist. Brandon actually fought that guy. So if you watch that, so if you look up Steven Peterson spinning back fist, you'll see somebody start to throw a spinning back fist, and then Steven Peterson throws a spinning back fist.
It.
He throws his own, knocks him out.
He connects with
It's
I actually fought that guy. Yeah. But that was the best spinning back fist counter ever.
But
this is something important though, because you got to take like people need to understand. Like I said, I came in just for a while, I didn't want to get into it, but you're like, hey, you start watching my fight, so I start getting that shit. But then there's just so much into it. I just want people to understand that this shit is a sport.
That's what makes it so bad is all this work beforehand, prior to the fight, and then in the fight when you're setting everything up, and then you have to take the punch. I took some punishment until I won the fight. That dude was throwing as hard as he could, and he was hitting me with shots. I'm just not a bitch, and I wasn't going to give up. You got to knock me out to get me out of there. That's one thing I know for sure. You got to, if you're fighting me or Jason Knight, you got to knock me out to get me out. You got to knock either one of us out. If I can move, I'm still fighting. And for them to take it away with something, and like I said, I understand why the ref made the call at the time, but once you got to see the video afterwards, there should be no question. It should be easy said and done, and it is what it is. So for them to take it away when all the work put in beforehand, and then all the damage I had to take during the fight, all the damage, like all the punches and brain damage. See, I got CTE maybe. but all of that, I'm just saying, for them to take it away on something that it to me is clear is crazy to me, and I think that they should not have the job at his commission.
Well, I do think that I think the evidence is clear to you and I.
No, that's on video. This is a clear video of this shit. We just went. This is definitely clear shit.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, I think what it comes down to
Mike's
is
getting paid by the commission.
Yeah, I think what it comes down to is when you see that knee land, you see the tattoo on his chest.
Yeah,
and I think the people that are
stupid
higher up, well, they are stupid, but they're higher up in the commission on the hierarchy there. They are stupid, but that's what they see. They see this tattoo on the chest. They think it's the hair. They think it's his head. And they're looking at that and they're saying, "Oh, that was his knee to the head. It's clear. Good call, ref." And the big problem is there's a overall commission, I guess, tendency or whatever you want to call it to side with their guy, right?
Well, did you ever think that we'd always have there's always not just in sports, but there's always a commission and some power of something above it.
Yeah, there's always some kind of team. So it happens all with so I mean, let's be honest here. It happens with police too.
Yeah.
They want to justify the officer in an unjustified shooting or whatever it is. So they try to find a way to justify it rather than really try to push hard for the truth, right? And I think that happens a lot in different areas in the world. And with the commission, it happens a lot. With when the referee makes not a great call, we're going to try to make it seem like it was a great call anyway. And I don't think that our commission was trying to do that, but I think that with their inexperience, they went to the higher ups, and those higher ups are like setting their, yeah, fuck yeah, that was a good call. Yeah, that was perfect. Look at this. You see his chest tattoo right there. It's right in the chest tattoo. It looks like his hair. It's a good call. You know.
You see that in school. You see it because people don't want to, like, nobody, especially with legal stuff now with attorneys and stuff. Nobody wants to admit to any wrongs. It's like me.
Well, the thing is, like our main, like one of our main guys right now is an attorney, and he's a good one. And I think that he probably wants to do the right thing, but I also think that he also wants to make sure. I think he's like a lawful good type, you know, like in like Dungeons and Dragons, like, you know, there's like lawful good and then neutral good, and then
I think that is
chaotic good. Whatever. I think he's a lawful good. He wants to make sure that it's not only like, is it the right call, but is it by the letter of the law and by the intent of the law, you know? And I think when he talked to the higher ups to find out about that, they probably were able to convince him better than I was that.
Well, you tell me this. So did you see any video or knee where my knee hit him in the head?
No, but I think that.
All right. Did you see plenty where my knee didn't?
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. So I asked the same question to this same guy, and he would not. So he's a lawyer. He doesn't want to not contradict, but put himself in the situation where he said this. So he'd go by terms like he's in the courtroom, which I guess we basically were at that point. And he would not say yes or no that he did not see the knee hit. And they kept saying, well, we knew you didn't throw it with malice. I said, I did throw it with malice. I threw it as hard as I could to his body on purpose.
Yeah.
But
is that a good shot? Is that like a good shot though that they'll do damage?
It makes people quit.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
I don't know this, Brandon.
So the biggest thing is, like, you do have to be careful here, because you know we train, like, the rules could change at any time, right? So we have to be prepared for if they like actually make a rule that makes sense where you are allowed to knee a guy in the head in that situation, which you should be allowed to. We have to be ready to do that, right? But we also have to know that like right now you can't. So Brandon had both of his hands controlling the guy's shoulders, which means that he had complete kinetic attachment.
So you're kind of like
he had a haptic
situation. Okay.
He had a haptic response to whenever Randy moved his head. He was haptically attached to him. So if Randy moved his head, Brandon had a haptic response to know where his head was. That's why you see him load up the left knee and then switch and throw the right knee instead, because the left knee, he would have had a hard time missing the head, right? So he switched. He didn't even throw the left knee. He threw the right knee. You know, so to me, that was like the most obvious tell that Brandon was in complete control, knew what he was doing, that was the big thing. The first thing they hit us with was that, oh, well, these referees watched this match and they saw it was the heat of the moment thing. You know, he didn't do it intentionally, so we're not going to DQ him. But it's like, well, of course he didn't do it intentionally. He didn't do it at all. Like, he didn't knee the head. It was a legal blow. This is a tactical decision that we made and we trained for, right? I mean, this is the best decision to make in this situation. And if you don't hold the guy back with your hands, what are they going to do? They're going to grab your fucking legs. And then you have to fight them off a takedown. And then the fight goes on longer than it's supposed to. And the guy takes more damage. So first of all, we have more deaths in MMA because of that, because the guy's taking more head damage for no reason, because we should have just been finished.
But if you would have hit him, let me ask you a question. If you would have hit him in the head, you would have stepped back. If I
would have hit him in the head and I knew that I hit him in the head at that point, then I'd be like, I 100% would be like, fuck, that's my fault. And I'd be pissed at myself.
Yeah,
I've seen Brandon throw fouls before and like throw back, and I tell him, hey, look, play it off until the ref calls it.
I get pissed. I get pissed at myself.
Yeah, he gets pissed at himself.
Well, you would have felt the fucking head hit.
I've kneed plenty of people in the
head.
head.
Skull's different than the fucking shoulder.
He kneed Randy in the head in their first fight when he was standing.
Well, the knee hurt. Your knee hurts after you knee somebody in the head.
Yeah.
The skull's pretty hard, but no. If I would have, even if I wouldn't have known at that time, and I'll argue then, there's an interview on my Instagram where I go through and I say, I guess I threw the knee to the body, and I guess he kept sliding down. And I hit him in the head, and then and then I said, but I know I need him to the body. I know my knee hit his arm. If I would have went back and watched it and I need him in the head, I wouldn't be making this fuss, because then that's my fault. I fucked up. Yeah. But I didn't. That didn't happen. So
and here's the thing: like, I've known Brandon for a long time, and this is I know Brandon is a very principled man. He's very not objective, but he's absolutely honest, and he's very principled. All right, and I know that for a fact that if this had been the other way around, Brandon would have been the first one to step up. Even if I'm yelling at him not to from the corner, he would have stepped up and said, no, fuck that shit. Randy didn't need me in the head. He fucking won the fight. Give it to him. And he would have had his head down. He wouldn't have been happy about it, but he would have done it because it was, that's just how he is. So that's the part that I'm kind of upset about is that, that when he would have done all this shit, and I can understand why he's so upset too, because he knows that he would have done the right thing if he was in the other shoes.
Well, that case would have never happened because I ain't quitting. For what?
Yeah,
but if there was a case,
if you got let's say you got knocked out with a knee to the head. Let's say he knocked you out, he kneed you in the head, it was illegal, and you got kneed in the head, you got knocked out. Like you would have not tried to say, or if you got kneed in the body.
I would have said it was to the body.
Yeah, you would if you got kneed in the body and got knocked out with a fucking liver shot or whatever.
Well, I mean, if you need me in the head, I wouldn't have been like, I wouldn't have made an excuse like it was to the body. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
No, yeah, that's
Same
not
concept.
me. I want to be honest. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and I'm going to admit when I'm wrong. And like I said, even in the Instagram video, I said like
I've seen you do it before, so I know.
I guess I need him in the head, and then I went back and watched it, and it made me even more pissed.
Yeah, no, I've seen you do it before. So if he'd need you in the body, knocked you out with a body shot or whatever it was, I know that you would have came forward. So I'm upset about that your opponent wasn't able to do that.
Shit up.
Well, I mean, while we're waiting on this, I want to see if anybody that watched the video or been watching all along, what do y'all think? Where did the knee land? Because I even have Randy Costa fans on Instagram and everywhere saying, "Look, I'm a Randy fan." They've messaged me or they put it on the post and they say, "I'm a Randy fan, and you 100% did not knee him in the head, and you should get paid." And this and that, and I mean, I know that's not the case now. I mean, right now, it can't be overturned now. We appealed it. It didn't happen. I'm just making sure that I'm trying to help future fighters from dumb stuff like this happening again. I don't think these people should be in position that they are. And Mike's going to say something different.
I think the rules need to be changed, honestly, because I think, I obviously I think that everyone needs to grow and get better, but I think the rules need to be changed because I think you should be allowed. I think you should be allowed to knee the head in that situation, regardless. Personally.
Agree, but that ain't the rules right now. So
no, not the rules.
I'm gonna go on a Rosa Parks type thing, which is nowhere near the level of what she did. But until somebody stands up, this shit's just gonna keep happening. Yeah. So somebody has to finally stand up to them, and they'll be like, "Oh, you can't fight over here." I don't care. And just like Mike said, he said, "I'll tell Brandon not to do this," and he's still gonna do it. I'm gonna do it right now. I am going this far. I will not fight in Mississippi again while these people are in control. I don't care if I go and fight in Miami in a couple of months and I fight for the title and I win the title and they're like, "Hey, we're putting on a fight in Biloxi in November. We want you to headline it, defend your title." I will go to the point of saying I will give up the title and somebody else can fight for it, and then I'll fight them to win it back after. I don't care. That's how much I don't care. These people don't need to be in the position they are with the stuff that they did. They don't know what they're doing. If you can't make that call, you don't need to be there. If you can't see, if you cannot see how simple and straightforward that call is, and you have no position being in the position you're in. And Mike's mad now because not mad. He's just disappointed in me saying stuff because he thinks it's going to affect me with the fight in the future. But if it does, it does. Stand by my.
He's still your coach and brother, pretty much.
No, yeah,
I
just stand by my virtues.
I know you do. I just, I want to see you reach your full potential, and I think you're a world champion. And I want to see you get that title. And
I am a world champion.
I mean, I know you already earned it. But
he loves you. Y'all been together a long time.
Yeah, he give it to you.
I am a world champ. Talk to the commission.
All right, so we're here on the Instagram.
Here, scroll down just a little bit. It's literally, I think it's. Did they have volume?
No, yeah. So we got to redo it again. You got to hit that speaker.
All right. I threw a knee to the body. I guess he kept sliding. I guess it landed to the head, but I finished the fight with punches. The knee never did anything. The knee didn't even land on the head. It landed on the arms. But I feel like I should be the champ. I should have my fucking belt right here. Guess it's not my fucking way it's supposed to be, but see y'all next time. Ours here. They're right there. I threw a knee to the body. At that point, I haven't seen the video. To the head, but I might have muted. I finished the fight with punches. The knee never did anything. The knee didn't even. At that point, I hadn't seen the video of what happened. They just tried to tell me that I need him in the head. And I said, all right, maybe I did knee him in the head. I threw the knee to the body. Maybe he kept sliding down. I need him to the head. But I said that I felt like I need him to the body, and I hit him in the arms. which is exactly what happened. And you see me saying that, but I take it for what it is at the time where I'm being told from people that watch the replay. I'm taking what they said, but it is what it is. It's over with now. I just want to help out future people and even the commission get some training, trying to help y'all out too.
Well, I think the biggest thing is with the going forward is like, I think the old guard and the old way of doing it's the commission's generally historically been full of bureaucrats. We don't need any more of that shit. You know, we need people that want to do the right thing, are doing the right thing. And I think that we kind of have that, but they're looking to these old bureaucrats for a path, you know, for a light, because I think honestly, like, I'm probably one of the most experienced coaches in Mississippi. I'm probably the
I
guy
love
that
the confidence in that, because you should,
I
you should
agree.
have the confidence in that.
well, I think that I'm probably the guy they would have gone to if it wasn't my guy in the question, right? So like it's tough. It's a tough spot. Like, because I think they probably, if it wasn't you that had the problem, they might have asked me, like, hey, what do you think about this? So I would have been like, oh fuck, that wasn't a needed head at all.
So how
this is his fucking chest tattoo. His head's all the way up here. It's a fucking needed arm in his body.
How do we go about fixing this? If every good coach doesn't want to quit coaching or quit their gym, then how do we get people in the position?
I have to develop new coaches and get into the commission. I mean, I think that really what it comes down to is I think like long term, the coaches like me, Greg Jackson, all the first generation like guys that got guys in the world rankings. James Krause, what the fuck is he doing now? He ain't coaching. Get James Krause to the commission. James Krause is a fucking genius, by the way.
Well, they ain't gonna let that happen. Because
we got to get him. We got to get him in something.
On the outside in there, like my son, which Brandon's been trying to get Oliver in the jiu-jitsu for a couple years. You know, Mike is a co-owner of American Top Team in D'Iberville, Mississippi. He is Oliver's coach. My son is 6 years old, and one of the coaches. You can't deny Coach Alex is one of the best around, the way he is with kids. Even Lane, you know, I'm so proud of Lane. Like, but this is a real family. They're serious about the sport. My little 6-year-old, it's been in it for a few months, and he's never leaving, because we actually put him out of Bayview to homeschool him. He's going to continue to. He's actually, we went from like 2 days. Mike's dude 2 days a week. Oliver's been going 3 to 4 days a week.
That's awesome.
And now he tries to, because him and Alex, because there's sometimes kids don't show up.
Don't tell Mike that. He might try to charge you more, because now we've been clowning on the commission. He getting a pay reduction.
So but the thing is it's so cool that like Oliver, he came home with a black eye last week, and I was like, you okay? He's like, oh, I was rolling with Coach Alex. It's like, okay, like he was in it, and it's like, but then he goes, let me show you what I learned, and my ass is not fit. He tries to grab the leg, full fucking push, and almost got me down. I was like, what the hell?
They've just been working single legs.
I guess Coach Alex gave him a black eye to stop him.
Yeah, well, but I mean, but my son has changed his behavior, the way he thinks about things, his confidence in life. Like, he's ready. Like, we don't even have to tell him to get dressed up, get ready for 5 o'clock. He is so into it, and it's changed his life. And that's one thing I'll say is, like, if you have, start with little ninjas at American Top Team. I did it because Brandon was like, you need it, because like Oliver's doing this way before Mike and Brandon even got into jiu-jitsu. This kid is full-blown 6-year-old that is ready to go. Like, he loves the sport. But what you learn about jiu-jitsu that I've learned as a dad is you're learning discipline. You're not just learning how to roll or anything like that. You're learning self-defense, but you're learning discipline. And he likes his friends more than anything at jiu-jitsu. I got one boy that's in jiu-jitsu with him, and he's probably 70 pounds, 60 pounds. And Oliver gets so discouraged because he's so much bigger. It's like, but he's had girls hold him down longer. It's changed his life. But like, shout out to Coach Alex, because like Oliver is so ready. And because there's a couple of days where it's just been Oliver. It's just been Oliver there. And I look over, and Alex is Oliver's wrapping him by the neck, and Alex is like, go ahead, come on, let's do it, dude.
Well, I'm going to say this. Get your kids in there for sure. It builds a lot of respect and humbles you, because there's going to be somebody smaller than you holding you down when you first start, or beating you up, that because you don't know what you're doing. It's all technique. It's leverage and technique. If the size mattered, the elephant would be king of the jungle, is what they say in jiu-jitsu, right? So once you learn how to be good, it doesn't matter how small you are. I out 250-pound plus people all the time. Mike does it for sure all the time. That being said, it's not just for kids. Like if you want to, it humbles you as an adult too, because the same thing's going to happen. You're going to have some geeky looking kid with some glasses that's 16 years old rolling you up like a pretzel. Yeah. That don't happen to me, but but no, I'm just playing. Yeah, it's happened to everybody. And if you have too big of an ego, you're never going to make it in the sport.
And do me a favor. Mike will let y'all do a couple-day trial. Like he will agree. But do me a favor that I've realized with a few of these parents, let the coaches fucking coach. Okay. Shut up. Let them coach. And that's one thing is I'll say, and I'm not going to name names, but like, let the coaches do what they do best.
Well, not even at this. Even if you don't bring them to American Top Team, you hear something
it's
about
American Top Team all the way.
I mean, we want them to come to American Top Team. I feel for sure we are the best fight team in the state.
I train a lot of coaches that open up gyms in this area.
Yes, we will say that. We will say that. But even if you're not here coming to this, get your kid in jiu-jitsu or get in jiu-jitsu yourself, and it will humble you and it'll make you a better person, and you'll learn how to defend yourself in the street. In a fight, in an MMA fight, I'm standing on the feet and I'm putting on the show. In a street fight, I'm taking you down. There's no point in even dealing with all the bullshit. I'm taking you down. I'm choking you out because you don't know how to get me off of you. In a street fight, I'm going to put on a show and I'm going to make my money and gain some fans. Street fight, I'm taking you down as fast as possible.
But are y'all allowed to actually fight since y'all pros? There's definitely a lawsuit.
Brandon's probably fought a lot more than I have.
No, but I'm saying, are y'all allowed to actually? Are y'all allowed to street fight?
Brandon's
I'm undefeated at the Salty Peach.
I'm a lot harder.
If you know, you know.
How many street fights you been in, Brandon?
Shit.
You can't even think.
I haven't been in many recently. It's funny. This is a funny thing is once you learn how to fight, you don't want to fight. Like out in public.
It doesn't count, right? Like if you don't feel like you're fighting, like with somebody it's like a joke to
you. Yeah, like
Brandon just likes to slap people.
So I threw a couple people at parties. So I had a guy at a party one time. He got way too drunk, and everyone tried to get him to leave, and he kicked a pregnant girl in the stomach. I tried to throw him out. And he started all these guys tried to throw him out. And he started knocking guys out like left and right. He was probably like 190. He was a big dude. He knew how to throw a punch. And these guys were like a bunch of pussies. They were trying to push him out the door, and he's just like cracking him in the face. I'm like, dude, bro, just leave. Oh, knocked out. Move, just leave. Knocked out. So I went up and I put him in a guillotine choke, and I told him to calm down. He bit me. I had a sweater. Yeah. I had a sweater on.
Yeah.
He put a bite mark through my sweater into my ribs, and I choked him unconscious. I lifted him up. He was heavy as hell. He was like 190.
So when you knock somebody out, how long is if you choke? What is it? 30 seconds?
I don't care. I would have killed him. So it was like probably 5 seconds. He was asleep, and I felt his body go limp, and I just fucking threw him in the street, and then he was unconscious, and we walked the door. I had a bite mark. I was so pissed. But I mean, I was only 150 pounds. I could barely lift that much.
What are you at now?
I'm like 180 right now.
He fat.
So I'm not fat.
I can't say anything.
I'm not in bad shape. I went up a couple weight classes. That's all.
Is there any question?
No
like, when's y'all's podcast come out? Next month? Month after? What are we doing?
After UPS stops putting me out until running these streets.
I think that's all.
I've been out in the corner for a month and a half.
Well,
they've been having me work the corner.
Jobs right now.
Work at the corner, but.
I want to challenge y'all. I want to do. I know that. I want to challenge y'all. Come February.
No, it's gonna be in January. February is way too late.
But that's what I'm saying. I would say at least y'all bring back y'all show. Y'all have a great chemistry together.
Yeah.
I would get rid of your. You have I don't know. You have the perfect.
I got to get Mike off the commission before I can get him in my podcast.
No, because you got to have an understanding. Like y'all need to educate the sport. This is what y'all do.
We have good guys on the commission too. So I mean, the thing is, like right now, most of the commission is the head guys. They're all boxing based. You know, we need to have, I think, separate, maybe not separate commissions, but separate departments. Right? I think we should have a guy like the head of the MMA department.
This is going to be something for our podcast. So
the head of the boxing department. So I would like to see, like, we have some guys in there that have more MMA experience and more boxing experience. Right? So right now, the athletic commission generally is a boxing thing. It's not an MMA thing. The MMA just kind of got added on, and now MMA is bigger than boxing.
Curtis laughing at the Salty Peach comment. He knows. Yeah. He knows.
Yeah. But let's add on, so we got like some guys. So Fred Griswold, he's an MMA fighter. He came up in MMA. Let him start an MMA department, He's got a lot of experience with that, and we have other guys who can kind of follow up in that department, and then have people in the boxing department have, Garner and Randy in the top of everybody else, kind of like, guiding and making sure everything's going the right way and not being misused and there's no corruption and whatever else and overlook things. But like, they don't have to have the expert eye that the MMA guys have to have. They don't have to, if they want to give more of an expert opinion on the boxing side, then that's fine. But I think that's kind of the direction it needs to go. There's definitely going to be bureaucracy. It's anything government oriented is bureaucratic.
If you got a mindset for it, I mean, you got to go with it. I mean, my eyes is going. I challenge you, motherfuckers, before February to bring back y'all's fucking show because y'all have this. You can't say.
Hey, we'll do this. We'll do this. Same thing we did last night for Yahtzee at the house. Slap bet. If I don't have one up by February, you get to slap me as hard as you want.
You though. I don't
you need to take your tampon out real quick.
All
right, then. Come on.
No.
Because it's not. We're doing this. We're doing this. It's not.
If Brandon doesn't do it, he'll let you slap him.
It's not. It's not. If I don't have one. If I do have one up, I don't get to slap you. It's just a one-sided bet.
Oh, all right. Hey, look,
so I don't like slapping because I'm not in that shit. Yeah. I'll do something. If you don't have your show up by February 1st, we go to the vinyl store like me and you do, and we'll buy.
It's too weak.
We'll buy a vinyl.
Sounds like somebody that doesn't do jiu-jitsu would say.
Well, no, I'm not. I don't do jiu-jitsu.
I know.
Between me and you, though, what we like to do, whoever, like, if you don't get your show up by February, I will. If you do, I'll buy you a vinyl and we'll go to Hops Growers and have beers one night.
It's not enough on the line. I purposely not put it up on time just to do that.
Huh?
You know me.
But if you don't put it up, you're gonna take me. You're gonna take me. But if you put it up,
I'm fine with that. Just not because you're not giving me enough to go off of. Let's do the slap bet, and we'll do it. We'll do it on the podcast. I'll let him slap me as hard as he can. Just don't watch after because I'm gonna choke him out.
No, he's gonna do it. He's been one.
But I'll let you choke me out. How about that?
No, I can't.
I'll teach you how to do the choke.
I just think you need to do your show. Y'all need to bring.
I agree. Back. So let's bet on this. I don't want to get slapped, so I'm gonna have it up before then. I'd rather get punched than I would slapped.
All right. Well, I just know that the situation, and I know, Mike, I know you have the commission.
What's up, Josh?
But if you ask me, this fucking that shit sucked. To me, as a new person of the sport, that shit wasn't. It won't be right to me. And I know you have your decision. This is between y'all are different than me. But I'm a fan. I'm a stay as a fan. I'm not trying to be a part of the sport. I love supporting my friend. I love it. I love watching Zombie. I love watching people put their hearts on the line and then I got to such a respect for the sport. I'm like, when I hear people talk shit, I'm like, oh, okay. Well, then you go fucking do it.
Well, the only way anybody gets benefit from the sport is if the right things happen, right? So, I mean, that's something we can all be on the same page about. Commission, fighters, fans, everybody. They want to see the right guy win. And especially they want to see the right guy win. Like, especially if it's their fan favorite guy, that should be the guy that wins.
But Sanford, what you own in the gym, which you be proud of that, is fucking badass gym. But like, you don't pay fighters weekly to pay that cover their bills, do you?
No, man.
That's what I'm saying. People need to understand that.
Yeah. No, like it's
they train 30 hours a week.
Fighters are supposed to pay the gym to help keep the gym open. You know?
Yeah.
Like, they need to get paid to do that, though.
Yeah, we gotta. And if you're this is the thing that people don't understand either. Yeah. For you to go pro, you have to have amateur fights. And every amateur fight, you don't get paid.
Yeah, and I got a partner too, Donnie Sosher. He's awesome, and like that's one of the things we need these guys to pay us to help us, keep the things rolling.
Yeah, like I said, just getting jiu-jitsu wherever it may be. Hopefully, American Top Team. Yeah, Josh, I do remember that. Right when I got out of the cage, there's one of Randy's coaches that came up to me and he's like trying to say something to me, and he's like, "Hey, Brandon," took my arm. I was like, "Get off me." He's like, "No, listen." And he was like, "You won that fight. You deserve to have that belt." And
that meant a lot to you.
I thought that was pretty cool. It was a bald-headed dude, not Joe Lozon. I guess it's like one of his boxing coaches. But yeah, he did say that. But I had advised
Joe Lozon did not want Randy to stop fighting either, though.
Oh yeah,
for the record.
Agreed.
He wanted Randy to keep fighting.
You can go to my Instagram.
None of them wanted any part of them to win like that. Nobody in Randy's corner wanted that.
But I advise anybody, even if there's people that start when they're 50, get into jiu-jitsu. And for one, it's a stress reliever. It gets all the stress off of your mind. For the time that you're doing jujitsu, that hour during that day, you have to focus on nothing. You can't be thinking about bills or your girl leaving you or whatever the case may be. You have to think about this dude trying to choke you, or you trying to survive, or you trying to choke him. And it makes it fun, and it's a great workout, gets you in shape. And like I said, even girls, you see video, go on YouTube, type in girl using jujitsu against a guy. Like, you see girls beating up dudes or stopping dudes from trying to rape them or whatever the case may be, just because they know how to control somebody on the ground. It's crazy. You'll be able to hold them down till the cops come, or you can choke them out and run away, or you can kill them if you needed to.
Or it could be like Mike, where you're like, everybody says like Mike's not a striker. Then you watch Mike's last fight, you're like, fuck.
I'm not a striker compared to Brandon, but
No, Mike's gotten good.
Dude. But when Mike was hitting that, like I'm telling you, I was
I gotta
screaming.
get a striking coach.
Huh?
I gotta get a striking coach.
Yeah, well, you got one, but I'm telling you, when he did his fight, from our table, me and DJ, you can hear Mike whack, whack, and it's like, oh, that's my fucking.
Hey, I'm not like Brandon. I ain't trying to save it for fucking 5 rounds. I'm trying to win right now.
Mike is mad at me. He's got to get a striking coach, he says, and he wins by striking.
Yeah.
I got a good jiu-jitsu coach, and he wants me to take it to the ground. I'm like, fuck. There's been fights where me and Brad Kelly, or me and one of my first bare knuckle fight.
Brad Kelly, man, that was
a good fight.
I love Brad.
Literally my first ever bare knuckle fight is me against a dude, Jack dude. I'll go, and he was like, I ain't trying to take you, or he said something about his coach trying to take him down. He's like, I ain't trying to take you down. I said, cool, I ain't trying to take you down either. Let's fucking fight. We just fucking smack dance.
So one of my
I was mad about that one. So Brad Kelly, he's actually a good friend of mine now. He trains in my gym.
but
Brad's a good guy.
They had
So they made that agreement. Like, and me and so Brad Kelly's coach is a guy, Eric, up in Hattiesburg. He's awesome too. And we were both mad. He was mad at Brad, and I was mad at Brandon because they both agreed not to take each other down in the fight where they're both strikers. It's like, God damn it, if you get on top, it's an easier win. Like, they both fucking fist bumped and just struck it out the whole fight.
You remember that podcast we did?
Yeah.
So after Brad
Yeah.
and Brandon fought, they came on my old podcast.
Oh, Brad came on with me. Yeah.
They were here.
Oh, perfect.
They're sitting next to each other talking about it. They became friends. He's like,
No, yeah,
I'm
they're
training
great.
a top team now. I'm like,
They're the same guy or whatever. You know,
We're
so they're
the
both
same
good guys.
person.
It was a great podcast.
They're the
It's
same.
like,
They're the same dude. All right,
But-
so
We gotta get the people what the people
Brad
want.
was like, Brandon, everyone goes, fuck. He's like, when Brandon hit me, I felt it.
yeah.
Oh, he
Yeah,
said I hit
they-
with the uppercut. He couldn't feel his top teeth.
And they were both legging each other. It was just great. It was a fun fight. It was a super fun fight. It actually worked out great for the fans, but like it became like it turned into like a split decision.
But
which
without
got, you know,
fans, it's not a
yeah.
sport.
But yeah,
Yeah.
what he's saying is the fight was a lot closer than it should have been. And then
Yeah,
against the guy, I'll go, I could have easily won because when I took him down at the very end of the fight, it was the easiest takedown ever.
So I'll go. So this is the one I got upset about because I want to fight this guy now. He's a great fighter, and he ended up actually getting a split decision win in this fight. But I think that Brandon had a clear advantage, and when he finally did take it down, it was not hard for him. And that was something I felt I saw in the footage. I felt that Brandon showed in the fight, but the judges might not have seen,
yeah.
and they obviously didn't.
Well, the whole crowd booed, and even Dean and Jorge said
Yeah.
they thought I won. But that's one where it's my own fault.
I'm trying to fight that guy.
I could have taken him down, whatever. So I can't blame the judges on that. That's on me. I could have made the fight a lot easier. And there's fights where I could have won a lot faster or taken a lot of damage or made, but and there's times where I do. I've gotten out of that. I'm not gonna say recently. Like once I got into the UFC, it was more of like firefight, get in there, put on a show, make a name.
But anyway, if I got a call out today, that's my call out. I'll go.
You wanna go,
call
Randy?
out. Yeah.
My call out.
I'll
So I want all the people from the commission to come to the gym. We give out free lessons.
It was tough. I don't know if you know Austin.
You guys come to the
Austin
gym, you're under my
Conley,
protection.
But Austin Conley
Sign the
owns,
waiver.
Austin Conley owns a Mississippi Muscle in Pascagoula. It's a bodybuilder, and
Mhm.
he has a TRX. And
I like Austin.
we play Call together. But I used to have a mattress store next to Body Quest, my old mattress store. So Austin, when he was training, he'd come just lay on my mattress, and he's a good dude.
Huge.
And he when I left
Brandon
Brandon
Allen one day at my gym.
Yeah.
when Brandon lost his fight, he was at the show with me, and was it Billy? Him and Billy Perkins, and we parked next to because I have DJ's Hummer, Dad's Hummer, and we were parking next to each other. And Austin, normally I talk. I was just so fucking mad. And we both got across the yard and said, Brandon just fucking got robbed, and I just fucking hopped in the fucking Hummer and just drove off. He's like, and it's just one of the moments where I already kind of lost my voice, but I was so fucking pissed off. And look, I love that. That was probably one of the best promotions I've ever been to.
Oh man, so to tell you how good the promotion is, like if you go to a local fight, they might spend anywhere from $1,000 to $5,000, maybe max $10,000 on the setup because they usually already own their cage. I've personally been told by Dean, I can't put out the numbers, but it's in the millions of how much they spend each fight on getting the arena, putting production in, getting the lights, hiring the people. It is crazy for them to make money back off of that. Spending over $1 million a fight is absolutely crazy, but that's why it looks so good.
I had
And
so much fun.
It's but with that all being said, I appreciate you having us. I don't want to fucking bore the people.
Fuck y'all.
Fuck y'all. We don't like you anyways. But I've always enjoyed fighting in Mississippi. I love fighting here. I started fighting in Mississippi. I fought most of my fights in Mississippi until I got to the UFC, and then of course it's everywhere but Mississippi. But I've enjoyed it. I've made my career out of Mississippi. Unfortunately, that has to come to a close for now. I fight anywhere but Mississippi. And until something happens, until they at least try to get some people in there to try to help them and stop being ignorant to stupid stuff. If you don't know what you're doing, you get help. If you don't do that, then you fucking fall off. That happens in any job, in any place, and to anybody ever. So if you don't know what you're doing, get somebody that does know what they're doing and let them help you. But that's all I got to say. Like I said, it was a fun fight. I enjoyed it. Ended at the end, not how we wanted it to, but I appreciate you having me on, Jordan.
Hey, Josh. Look at me. This Josh. Josh gave me this.
Oh, yeah.
Josh. Look, shout out to Josh too. But yeah.
You gotta stay down, bro.
Fuck it.
Hell yeah,
Or
Mike. I
otherwise,
appreciate you debating with me. I know you're on.
Yeah.
You're getting
Love you,
paid a
Josh.
little bit or something.
No, well, I just, my big thing is I want the sport to grow. I want everyone to get better. And I want to be honest with my feelings, and what my thoughts are and what my feelings are. And I think that we have good people in our commission now that want to make the sport better. I think they just need some guidance on where to go. And I think that they're looking to the commission, like the people higher up at the commission, for that guidance. And sometimes it's the right people to ask, sometimes it's not, So it's unfortunate.
I think we dug tonight. I can't lie to you. I think we did a good night. I think we had a great fucking show.
Well, I think the bad thing is, like, if that ref just called it a TKO right when they stopped it for that foul, instead of calling it a foul, called it a TKO, what would happen then? Would the commission would they have acknowledged any kind of a dispute from the other corner? I don't think so. And that's one of the things I brought up, so that's why I'm a little bit upset, is like, it's more about preserving the decision of the referee, I think, than anything else.
Than having a real
then looking at what the real issue was. I think this was more about, all right, was the referee right or wrong? And we don't want to throw our guy under the bus. So let's make sure he was really wrong.
Well, the referee's from Tennessee anyways.
Exactly. But still, he's a referee from the ABC.
Yeah.
So we had to make sure he was 100% undeniably wrong before we even consider looking at anything else. I think that's kind of what it came down to.
The situation though is the reason why we did this show tonight was bring awareness to this. No matter how the decisions were made, we knew this last night. Like, we knew this last night when we talked about it. Was going into this, it was more about bringing awareness to issues.
Well, that's the good thing about you.
The referee could have called that a TKO, and nobody would have took a second look at it. I guarantee you. The only Randy's corner would have stood up and did this for like 5 seconds,
and then they would watch the video, and they would watch the video
over. They couldn't over like that. It would have been done.
Well, that's the good thing about you and your podcast and us starting ours back up. But for you, anything that happens on the coast, you're on top of it and you're killing it right now. And we appreciate you having us on and putting it out so people can even hear it. Because if it wasn't for this, I wouldn't be able to jank on these bums.
But we're when I started my podcast, 6 years ago, into the last 4 years with you, like, it's been. I've always encouraged you to do it because you got this. Brandon's got the same gear I have, so guys, no excuse on his ass. He has the same gear. He literally has the same shit I have.
I don't have Shure mics.
Huh?
I don't have Shure mics.
They're mics, but the whole idea is I think something about a podcast. Everybody should have a podcast.
Got boomsticks,
huh?
I got boomsticks. Bro, I ain't worked out since the fight. My ass getting fat. I've been working every day. I'm over here struggling to hold this thing up.
Well, you don't have to hold it.
He likes to be hands free.
But
My mic usually holds itself.
like I said, Brandon,
Mike, don't put me in your place.
But I'll tell you what, Brandon did tell me. He goes,
He likes.
I don't wanna
He
pro-
likes his mic hand free.
but this is like Brandon's so old damn school though. He goes, I don't want to promote my podcast on your show. I'm like, fuck you. I consider Brandon family. Fuck you. Like, yeah, this is, this ain't about who has the coolest podcast. It's about the coast having voices. It's about y'all having a voice. Like you did. If you want to do a podcast, I'm not talking to them, but I'm talking to my audience. I get a lot of messages from people about want to do a podcast. Fucking do it. I'd love to tune into a lot of coastal podcasts because we have the worst fucking media down here. If you have a cooking show, let me know. I want to be a part of it. I do like crime. So if you have a crime show, get back, Katie. Yeah. So everybody should have a show. It should be one person. And I honestly, look, guys, this is a good story and this is what you need to hear because now you've seen what tonight was and you're going to tell your friends about it and it's going to go down the line. Everybody always asks me, this is one thing, how do you monetize? Now I'm monetized, but how do you monetize? I don't give a shit about that. I don't want to go past the coast. I live in the coast. If people reach out to me past the coast, I'm grateful. But I was born in Ocean Springs Hospital, and I'm proud of where I'm from. And if my podcast only goes as further than Hattiesburg, because after Hattiesburg, guys, I love y'all, but I don't really consider it's the coast. I love y'all. Sorry, Brandon, but I love y'all. But no, man, I get y'all have a show. And,
Again, we appreciate it and condolences to your father. And you even still putting this on. I know you said he wouldn't want you to turn it off.
dude, he's trying to be my booking agent.
But I know it's still a hard time for you, and for you to still put it on even during this is pretty badass and awesome, and we appreciate it.
All right, love you guys, and check out American Top Team DI Mississippi, and there's a spot in Gulfport. If you have any questions, you can DM me, Brandon, or Mike, and we'll make it up. But if you have a kid and you want to better your kid, you definitely want to put them in American Top Team. I love you guys, and have a good night.
All right, thank you, man.
Music up loud. Magnolia Room Speakeasy. Airbnb Bosses. Drinx. Shout out to John. Direct Auto. Go see Michael West. Collision Depot. They will fix and repair to the highest standard. The District Coffee Company, downtown Ocean Springs, and the new location, Pascagoula.
We offer home, auto, commercial, builders, whips, and life insurance. Oliver's Guide. Oliver Shots Insurance.